Hi, hello. Welcome to Directly to You. It's the 136th episode of that show. It's our show. We're fanatixfour. I am AJ of fanatixfour, joined by Parker, also of fanatixfour. You can support fanatixfour by going to youtube.com/fanatixfour or twitch.tv/fanatixfour and subscribing with the paid membership on either thing. You know, if you're on Twitch, it's subscribe. If you're on YouTube, it's join. And you get the same stuff, man. You get loyalty badges, you get game time with us, you get free Switch keys from time to time, you get freaking emotes that are sick. We got one more emote coming. It's not ready yet. But I saw this sketch for it and it's hilarious. Nice. I gotta send you the sketch. Did you?
I don't know if I've even seen the other ones. No, I was about to say, I don't think I've seen them.
I put them in the pinned comment on my video.
Oh, okay. Here, I'll go take a look.
But yeah, those are the thing that you can use, and you can use them in our Discord by clicking the link in the description. You can join that for free $99 and talk to Brad, not Duncan. He's not getting a shout out. Thought I forgot. I didn't. I forgot why, but I didn't forget.
I thought he regained his access or whatever.
Yeah, he regained. No. He got it back, and then he slighted me again.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So
Duncan,
I took it back. But yeah, also you can get access to the supporters only Discord. People hang out there, you know. We schedule playing games and whatnot. Freaking Mega Man hits me up and is like, "Yo, can you be on my stream?" And I'm like, okay. so that's the thing. But anyway, we play video games. Did you play a video game this week?
Yeah, man. I played some. I'm just coming on here to try to see
the emotes.
Here's the emotes. I'm holding them up to the screen. I could have found it on the other computer.
Nice. There they are.
There they are. That's great.
There's another one.
Is the other one Ivysaur, I assume?
Yeah, the other one's Ivysaur.
Cool.
It's toxic.
Yeah.
Oh wait, let me pull up the sketch.
This is exclusive for the viewers directly to you.
Yeah.
Why is my camera doing weird things? But in the meantime, while you do that, I'll talk about some games. I played. I don't think I played the Pikmin 3 demo before last podcast. I think I played it after. Pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. So I played the Pikmin 3 demo since our last podcast, and it's really good, and I like it a lot. And now I want to play the game, but I'm torn on. That's really good.
There it is.
That's great. Is Alyssa making these?
Yeah, Alyssa's making them.
Nice. Alyssa's great. Good job, Alyssa.
It's true.
That's good. For everybody who's curious, it's Ivysaur, and it says toxic in like toxic cloud stuff, and it's beautiful. Good stuff. So yeah, I played the Pikmin 3 demo. It's really fun. I haven't picked up the game yet just because we're saving money and stuff. So all that. My birthday was the day. Yeah. So, and I've thought about that too, but I kind of want to have the save data on my account. So I'm probably just going to wait and ask for the game for Christmas or something like that. So it'll be a bit till I get to play it if that ends up being the case. But that said, the demo was really fun, so I am looking forward to playing it whenever that does happen.
Nice. I got a bone to pick with that game. I'm upset.
Okay,
I played it earlier today, and I was talking about it on stream because I streamed it once. And I don't lose Pikmin when I play. I'm on like day 12 or something like that, and I lost 4 Pikmin.
Are you playing on normal?
I'm playing on normal.
Okay. Apparently, normal is. So hard on this one is the normal of Pikmin 3 on the Wii U. So they changed it. So normal on this is actually easy, I guess. And ultra spicy is, harder than.
Okay.
So it's like it is, if you play it on normal, it's easier than it was before because
that
hard
makes
is the
sense.
same. So
that makes sense.
Yep. Which that said, yeah, I mean, it did feel like just in playing the demo because I played normal as well, and I was like, it felt easy, but also was just fun. Like
but that wasn't even my bone.
Okay,
my
what's your bone
that
then?
I want to pick is the fact that the Pikmin are stupid. So today I was playing on the thing where you got the part of the planet where you save somebody. I don't know.
Okay, sure, yeah.
I guess I don't want to say because spoilers or something. And I was trying to cross the river. And to cross the river, you yeet one of your friends over, and then you got to yeet the Pikmin to your friend or whatever, right? So then I did that, and then I switched to my friend on the other side of the river, and I made him blow the whistle to call the Pikmin that are near him. But the Pikmin that are on the other side of the river responded to it, and they freaking ran off the thing. So I'm like, yo, what's wrong with y'all? It's so freaking dumb. And it's like, couldn't do nothing. They're just freaking dying. So I was like, wow, man, that's stupid.
It is. I mean, I will say it is nice compared to Pikmin 1, just how many quality of life things I noticed in, like, it's been 3 years since I played Pikmin 1 for the only time that I played it, but just so many things that I'm like being able to whistle in whatever way that you do it's different, I think, from the original one. There's just so many things where it's like, I want my team to do this. And in the original game, they would not do it that way unless I really like finagled it to make them do it. And then now they just do, at least more often than not. That sounds like that sucks, what you had. But yeah, so I played that a little bit. Did you play more of the game than you just talked about?
Yeah, I'm just going through the story, just doing the things and getting the juice. I have so much juice, dude. I'm never going to run out of juice.
So okay, so yeah, the game is just dependent upon the juice. You just can keep playing as long as you have juice, right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Okay, cool. I like that so much better than having a limited number of days. I know some people
even
dislike
then,
it.
I guess it's technically still limited because
right, exactly.
All the fruit are gone.
Then that's it. But it feels more, pun fully intended, I guess, organic, to like not have an arbitrary number of days. I don't know. The original, it just felt like I can only survive here for 30 days. I hope I get out of here in 30 days. Yeah, but then something about that
literally makes you fight to how many days you're going to survive. Yeah. And it makes sense to you in universe because it's like, well, I don't have any more food.
Yeah, right.
Rather
exactly.
than the game trying to just buy it. You have 30 days.
Because even then, the 30-day thing, you could be like, yeah, you only have 30 days of this amount of some oxygen or something that you're there. But there's so many times you're like, oh crap, my car says I've only got 30 more or 30 more miles. But then you find out oh, actually, I could actually go a little bit further past zero or something, whatever. I'm just making up stuff. Although apparently that is true. I've never gotten to zero on my car but apparently on my car, at least, it'll say you have 0 miles left, or really there's a buffer of question mark amount.
Yeah, that's where I know my
just
car
smart.
people come in. I know my car, I have at least 3 more
all
miles
of your
left.
dashboard lights are on. It looks like your car's about to explode. Yeah, I know it. I've touched my hood before, so we're good to go. But yeah, I played the demo of that some more. I kept playing some Age of Calamity demo, and
I played that. I streamed it.
Yeah.
I freaking hate Boy Zelda and Girl Zelda. I don't like controlling either one of them.
Interesting.
But Impa is freaking sick, dude.
Oh, man.
She's
great.
So sick. But I'm upset because it's not if this was the first game where it's just play whatever you want, dude. It doesn't matter. Then I'd be down. But I have to play who the game wants me to play. So it's I'm still going to play it because I want to know the story and stuff. But I'm going to be significantly less happy about it.
I had a harder time with Girl Zelda for a while, and then prior to the podcast last week, and then I went back and replayed some of the levels that I'd already beaten with Boy Zelda and Impa. I played them with Zelda, and they were, I don't know, I just took some time to figure out her moveset, and I liked it a lot better. I feel like I liked Link's from the beginning anyway, but
I don't like Link's because his is boring. I can see that. It doesn't make sense to me. But Impa is
so hers, I figured out it feels like it's just fully random. But then I figured out that
to me it was the opposite of that. It felt like it shouldn't have been. It felt like the games wants me to do something with each thing. So when she pulls out the magnesis rune and stuff like that, I'm like, okay, so I'm supposed to use this, right? And then it just moves on to the next thing. I'm like, what the
yeah. So it's a sequential thing where every time you press it, it goes to the next one, and then you can actually use that one or whatever. And then once I figured that out, then I would plan to I'm only going to hit it twice to use this one. But I don't know.
But I don't know how to stay on it. Does it still
So at least with the bomb, if I hit, I don't remember the exact combination, but if I did something 3 times, it would do it so that I would roll like a big bomb.
The bomb is literally the only thing that makes sense to me,
it
because you can activate it with the thing. But like the Magnesis Shrine is the thing that's like stuck out.
The Magnesis one, I don't think I tried to use that much.
It just comes out and then it goes away, and I'm like, that doesn't feel satisfying. It feels like something's missing there. And I don't know, like it felt like it wasn't intentional, because if it was intentional for that to be the way that it operates, it would be stupid and I would hate it. I'm giving them credit. That's basically what I'm saying, and I'm hoping that I just don't understand the moveset. But Impa's just dope.
Impa's great. I don't even she's awesome.
Honestly care about the other two, and like I said, Link's just boring. He's just super straightforward.
But that makes sense. I mean, he feels like he would be the Kirby or whatever of Smash, but in here, where it's just like you need somebody that everybody can play and feel confident with. But he's definitely not like super interesting, but he at least feels, to me, it feels authentic to himself, not in terms of like physics or whatever, because obviously he's like way faster. Yeah,
because Link is boring. That's accurate.
But the other thing I've been playing, a long time ago, I bought Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, and so I started playing that because I was like, hey, I've got it, and that seems like a fun thing to play. Also played probably some more Mario Galaxy. It is, I know, and it's good. I'm liking it. So far, I'm not feeling like it's the stupendous game that I've heard some people say it is.
That's crazy. That's a personal attack on Dan.
But it's good. It's as Bob would say, it's good.
It's good.
But I've gotten 3 orbs, or no, gotten 2 orbs. I can change between, you can change between being several animals or whatever. So I have 3 animals now. I've got the pig, the frog, and the snake. So I can do some of those kinds of things.
Nice.
So I don't know. I'll keep you updated on how it is, but so far I've been enjoying it. But that's it for what I've been playing. Anything else for you?
I'm freaking back in this rut with Smash Brothers, where it's like I want to get better, but I can't, because there's nobody to play that consistently that helps me get there, like it's like either I'm destroyed. Well, that's 90% of the time I'm playing this game. I'm destroying somebody, and then the 10% of the other time is I feel like when I lose, it's because of Wi-Fi, like genuinely. And I don't want to feel that way. I want to play against people that like are genuinely significantly better than me, or enough better than me that I can like learn from it. Right. But I need more people to play Smash Brothers with that are good, that are not just trying to like cheese with Wi-Fi stuff. Where it's like, I'm going to be Zelda and hold the B button, like that sort of crap.
Stuff you been playing against me in Smash? What's going on?
Yeah. No, you use Boy Zelda. Dude.
I do use Boy Zelda.
Talking about girl Zelda.
It's true.
Boy Zelda, that's easy. That Wi-Fi trick, I already understand that. I already know how to fight against that. But the girl Zelda is just inconsistent. And that's the problem with it, where it's like I can deal with
that's her
that is consistent.
What's it called? The energy flare
all her
thing,
B
or whatever.
buttons. I just mean all of them. Every single one. There's the reflector thing, and the reflector thing's dumb because she can use that to phase through attacks too.
Yep.
Which is stupid. And then there's the freaking what is it?
There's Phantom, a name for
dude. The Phantom
Nightman.
She can like people that are like higher level, quote unquote, with this character can like spawn him.
Phantom Slash, maybe? That's not his name, but that's I think what the movie's called.
I don't know what his name is. But he's a Phantom of some sort.
Yep.
And you can so normally he spawns behind you and then he charges forward. But people that play this character regularly do a tech where they jump and then they like drift behind him. So like when he spawns, you can't hit her to get him out of there.
Oh, gotcha.
So
is that a Wi-Fi thing specifically, or is that
no? You can do it whenever, but it's a lot. Everything on the problem with Wi-Fi is Wi-Fi's inconsistent, and the reaction time is a lot more bad. like you can't react to the same stuff that you can react to IRL, where it's like, okay, Sonic's using spin dash, I can shield, but the time that the game's like, okay, here's the input on the screen, and then there's additional input delay, and then lag and all that. It's just a bad time.
It's a bad time.
So yeah, there's just Wi-Fi characters, dude, and it's like playing with people like Falcon and Lee, and like once in a blue moon with like Logan and my friend Lance and stuff like that. Like it's easier to play with them because they're still going to play the game like they're playing the game normally.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But people that only play this game on Wi-Fi are trying to cheese you. So it's like it's dumb and it's not productive. So I'm just trying to find people that are good that I can play Smash with.
Yeah. I mean, that might not be productive, but this last quarter for Nintendo surely was. And that's the transition that I'm choosing to do. Let's get into the news. So big thing this week was we got the financial results for quarter 2 for Nintendo. A lot of these numbers probably people have heard so far a little bit, but we're going to get into it. I'm trying to find, why am I missing the last, is it this one? I'm trying to pull all the tabs up because I'm going to share my screen. Yeah, this is the one I was looking for. Cool. Here, I will go ahead and share my screen now. We got these numbers and they're looking great. Nintendo's doing really good.
Big high numbers, dude.
I don't know that you'd ever expect them doing good or whatever.
Shooketh. I would have never guessed such a thing, dude.
So yeah, here we go. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Beautiful. Number one thing is we were at, I think, 61.44 million units for the Switch sold prior to at the end of June 30th, which meant like we for sure were going to pass the NES, which is at like, I think 62 million or 61.89 or something like that.
They since updated where it was like we've passed it or whatever because Japan sales and stuff like that.
Right, exactly. So like we knew that it passed it in terms of like obviously, but
it wasn't
as far as like
reported with the numbers on their financial site.
Exactly. That said, I think this is shipped units. I think they always do shipped units, which is, fine and normal.
No, I think Nintendo does sell through.
The only reason I said that was because somewhere on here seemed to suggest that there was a different global cumulative sell through of more than 63 million units.
Sell through that's what they sold to consumers. Sell in is what they ship to
so that's why I was thinking I think this number might actually be shipped units rather than the sell through units. But I mean that's still it means that there's six?
It means that they
7 million
sold.
more.
Like they're not going to sell through or sell in what they're not going to sell through.
Yeah,
especially with the Switch specifically.
And I do wonder if this will mean that the holiday this year will have slightly lower looking numbers than maybe like last year or some other years or whatever, because they were like trying so hard to get back on top of things, so that now there's stores already have a bigger backlog of shipments or whatever prior. I don't know, maybe not.
I don't know because like it all depends on how high they think they're going to sell through,
Yeah,
because,
right, exactly.
They could last year, right? It could have been a thing of like, okay, we sold in 8 million units for the holiday season, and we sold every single one of those, and 2 million more people didn't get a Switch that they wanted. Whereas now they can be like, all right, we sold in 10 million, and 9 million people bought a Switch. So like they still sold in and sold through more, but they have more of a buffer, Yeah. So I think that it's very possible that it would be. I think it's going to at the very least be as impressive, if not potentially more, as far as like the sell in, because they already. I mean, I guess we're going to get to that, but they already like changed their projection.
Yeah, actually, I didn't include that anywhere, but yeah, it was what 19 million. Now it's 24 million or something like that.
Yeah,
which is crazy. At what point? Do you remember at what point it was set to 19 million? Was that during COVID? They brought it down to 19 million at some point, or did they start it off at 19 million from the get-go?
I think it was like 17 million or something like that, and then they brought it up to 19 million, and now they bring it up again.
Yep, man, that's insane. That means. Yeah, I mean, we're going to be close to
They're selling a Wii U, dude.
Like
this
almost
year,
two
almost
Wii
two.
U's.
Yeah.
Man, that's insane. But yeah, and on that topic, because they're whatever. Here's some games that sold some more numbers.
See, now this is weird. I think that this software specifically is sell through because they include digital sales.
Oh yeah.
So
maybe it's half and half. It's sell in to retail maybe and sell through because they get for sure retail numbers like from Japan and Media Creates and not Media Creates anymore, it doesn't exist, but like from Famitsu and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe you're right. In any case, I mean, it's still crazy. Like for sure by the end of this holiday season, especially because there's a Switch bundle with the with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe
going to be at
with
30.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. I was looking, so I was trying to compare to Mario Kart Wii to see just its trajectory compared to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because Mario Kart Wii is the best-selling Mario Kart and the like second best-selling Wii game, I think, or it's like one of the top selling. I'm pretty sure it's the second.
We can see that. You just gotta,
best.
Wait,
selling.
why? You can see it on the thing.
You're so true about that. Forgot that was even here.
It's right there. There you go.
Wii Sports, Mario Kart Wii at 37.38 million. So I looked at it, and the only number that I saw that had like a fixed point in time was at the end of fiscal year 2009. I'm pretty sure it was at 15 million units, which I think means I don't remember what that is by comparison time-wise. That would be earlier in the lifespan than we are now within the Switch. But still, I think we were at more than that with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at that same point in time as. Right. So
and
all that to say
about Mario Kart 8. Technically, Mario Kart 8.
Yeah, right.
Mario Kart 8.
Yeah, because it's got all the 8 million sales from the other.
Yeah, 8 point something million.
So, and still, like, this is, I mean, for sure, it's just going to have legs forever. So even by the time the swap comes out or whatever, this game's going to keep selling on the Switch. So it's
I think when everything's all said and done, combined with both, it's going to have at least 40 million. At least.
Oh, for sure. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. But Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Animal Crossing New Horizons still selling like crazy. We sold, I think, 4 million-ish, a little under 4 million in this past quarter. And I mean, this one too is also benefiting from it also has bundles, but they're not pack-in bundles. It's not,
Yeah. Because I don't think there are any bundles that like actually have the game. Like if you buy the game, you have to buy the game. It's not like,
does it not have
like you're talking about the Switch?
Yeah,
the Switch doesn't come with any games. It's just
it doesn't.
$300 Switch, and then you got to buy the game separately.
You're right. So never mind. I take that back. I was gonna say because there were a couple of times that I went to the store. Well, okay, there was one time that I went to the store because I haven't been to the store in a million years. There was one time that I went to the store that the only Switches they had was the Animal Crossing Switches. So I was thinking if that was the case, then those could likely help the sales, because then even if somebody is like, I don't care, I just need any Switch, they could still buy that one and then try to sell the game or something like that. Right. But nevertheless, it's selling great.
I think people are just going to buy Animal Crossing anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
That's always been a weird excuse to me, or not excuse, but anecdote. Like, well, it's pandemic. It's like, yeah, but they're like, if that was the case, then every game released during this period would sell more than it would otherwise. But that's not happening.
Nope. So keeping going down, we'll go through kind of quick for some of these because most of them, they're in the same exact order for most of them. I think Odyssey and Sword and Shield might have swapped. But otherwise, Smash is now over. It's at 21 million instead of 19.98 million or something.
It was like 19.99.
Yeah, right. Breath of the Wild's almost at 20 million, so that's going to break it this holiday season. So is Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Insane. That the top five freaking Switch games are all going to be significantly over 20 million units sold.
Honestly, the top 6, because I can't see Odyssey not selling at least 1 million this holiday season.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's freaking crazy.
So yeah, and then Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, which I think passed Super Mario Odyssey. I want to say these are flipped as well. So that's
wait, what? Oh, you mean Mario Party?
Yeah. Oh no, they weren't. Mario Party.
Yeah, Mario Party passed freaking Splatoon a while ago.
Yeah. Man alive, this is crazy. It's still baffling.
No sequel, nothing like that.
I was talking. Oh, I don't remember who. If it was you and you're listening to this, I apologize. I was talking to somebody on Twitter a little bit ago about Super Mario Party and how it's doing, like selling so much or whatever. And I think it's interesting because I think the majority of the people that are buying it aren't the people like us who would care about the amount of content and stuff. It's the kind of people that, for the most part, are going to actually play it the amount of times that the amount of content it has matches up with. They have it as a game that they own, and they're like, yeah, I'll play this, but they really probably
they're going to play it like times. A board game.
Yeah, right. Which you put away, and I haven't played most board games that I own more than 5 times each, probably. So, but it's nice to have, I guess, is the idea. So,
right.
Then Splatoon 2, still selling some copies, and New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe.
That's going to get replaced.
It will, yeah.
3D All-Stars is going to replace that.
Yep. Which, as we move on to this whole thing, there's a lot of numbers on here, a lot of charts, which I was saying prior to this podcast that I love me some charts. But yeah, the biggest takeaways from here is we like to look at, there's a lot of interesting little tidbits. But we're going to pass it. Actually, some interesting bits are just that digital sales are, it's obvious, but digital sales are doing so much better this year. A, because of pandemic, and B, I think it's not going to go back. People that are getting used to digital sales are just going to keep buying digitally for the most part.
And while we're on this topic, I did want to bring up the topic of like their financials and stuff like that, because I don't think they said anything in here about Pikmin. A lot of people were talking about how like
it sold less in the UK.
Like Rock and Val sent it to us about the thing that it sold less in Japan than the Wii U version did and stuff.
I think it sold
more
not
in Japan
than
in the UK. In the UK, but it was like 18% less or something like that in the UK, but it's like 75% more in Japan. So it's like,
and also for what it's worth, the UK just went into a super lockdown again.
Yeah. I just thought that we should definitely note that, because it's like, while in some cases, and on top of the fact that digital sales aren't being reported for those and stuff like that, but like in some cases, the pandemic is going to like have a slight boost for certain games. It's also a detriment to more often than not, honestly. Especially for Nintendo games, because usually their business is physical more than it is digital, but it's a shift.
I think it's at this point, there's not a lot of people that will just not have bought the game because they didn't get it physically, but that digital number for sure will go up comparatively, which we're seeing here. It's 139% more digital spend than it was last year, which is just, people are just paying a lot of money and buying things, but just shifting towards that. So interesting.
And that shift was already happening before.
But
it's
for sure.
Being expedited now.
This mentions some new products for October through December 2020. Okay, so this is just like holiday stuff. So Pikmin, Pokemon Sword and Shield, Pass, Mario 35, all this stuff. Okay, neato. There's a bunch of games. Most of these that we care about, there's like just a couple that I care about. Immortals Phoenix Rising, Fitness Boxing 2, of course, is my jam.
Hype, dude. I can't believe you just skipped over Bakugan like that. That's
crazy.
How
could I?
Crazy.
I think that's out now, right? Yeah.
I don't know.
I was trying to. I think it came out like a week or two ago because I saw something about it. But I was. Because I heard Nintendo voice chat. They were talking about it. But I was trying to explain to Ashley what Bakugan was, and about halfway through, I was like, it doesn't matter, because we were listening to the podcast and they kept saying Bakugan. And she's like, "What's Bakugan?" And I was like, "Nobody really cares." Sorry, which isn't true, but it feels that way. So, the last kind of big thing from this is just we like to look at the million seller Nintendo first party titles, just because this is the only thing that gives us visuals of what's still selling really well that's not in that top 10. And so the standouts from this that weren't on the other list is Super Mario 3D All-Stars in 12 days, I think, sold 5.21 million, which is quite a lot, as it were. So yeah, definitely that's going to take at least the number 10 spot on that list by the end of the year.
And it's insane because everybody's like, or not everybody, the freaking the vocal people are like, this is just ports. It could tell so well if it wasn't, and if they did blah blah. And then like, okay, here's freaking 5 million units sold of just ports. Like.
I mean, and that's not to say that you can't want it to be like, I would like it to be more than ports, for sure. But as far as a business decision,
that's still where the problem comes in, because it's different. There's a difference between I would like this and this is the smart thing for them to do.
Right.
Like, all right, we got to understand who's the multi-billion-dollar conglomerate and who's the fan of the multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. And understand that we're not always the ones that know the best,
Yep. I mean, that's like, even, in my video this week, talking about things that I think would be neat ideas and would have made my experience with Animal Crossing in that specific case different than it was. But that doesn't necessarily mean that lines up with their vision of anything, they don't have to do anything just because it's what I want them to do.
It's just all in tone. It's obviously like half our channel, if not more than half our channel, like this would be neat.
Yeah, right.
Like, there's nothing wrong with being like, this would be cool. The problem is when it's like, they're so dumb, I would they're throwing away free money, but statements like that. It's like,
Yep. Some other ones. Ring Fit Adventure is still selling. It's in this calendar year, well, not this calendar year, in this fiscal year, it sold 3.11 million units, which is more than it had sold in the last one, which included a holiday season, just because there weren't enough copies of it before. Yeah. And also, quarantine definitely is helping that one, because people are like, I need to do some working out at home. And then obviously people are like, hey, this is really good and popular.
But again, I mean, to be fair, that game was already selling really well, and it had supply constraints and stuff like that. But now I would say that the way that quarantine helped it is that it sent a light bulb on Nintendo, where it was like, oh shoot, people are home, people wanted this game, let's put more units in stores, that sort of thing.
And then I'm sure their marketing for it went up for that as well. And so it's, for probably a lot of people, they were aware of it for the first time after the fact instead of when it actually came out. So yeah, that's great. Paper Mario, the Origami King. This is probably the first time we saw any numbers for, because it came out in July. So 2.82 million, which I think we already knew it was the best selling Paper Mario game, but no,
I don't remember. Knew it was the fastest selling Paper Mario game. Yeah,
that's right.
But we didn't know. Well, even then, I don't know about that, because it was like the first week or something like that, and it was like when sales were aligned, it was like top 3 or something like that.
I can't remember what Super Paper Mario sold, because that's probably the top. Super Paper Mario 2.28 million. Okay, so I'm sure that's probably the best selling one, more than Thousand Year Door or anything. And this definitely sold more than that. So look at that. It's a good game. It's not necessarily for everybody. I saw Brandon messaged me and Duncan this week and was like, man, I tried it. I got this far and I don't know if it's for me. And I haven't replied back yet, but Duncan was like, yeah, man, that's fine. Not everybody likes it. So glad you enjoyed some of the bits, which is, I think, just the case for everybody. It's some games are for you and some not.
Yep.
Moving down the list, Clubhouse Games 51 worldwide games sold is now at 1.81 million. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition has not sold many more than its first little bit, but it's still there. It's still selling a little bit. So, and then there's some others. Luigi's Mansion 3.
For that game.
Yeah, no, for sure. And definitely that's, I'm sure, more than the initial, than the first, release. But Luigi's Mansion 3 in this fiscal year sold 1.51 million. Actually, that's really close to if Super Mario 3D All-Stars didn't edge out New Paper.
Oh yeah, then that will probably replace.
Deluxe, then that could.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that said, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe is still selling faster, so I don't know, maybe not, but there it is. So that's pretty much all the financial things for Nintendo. There's other bits and pieces, but we're not going to get into all those. So, if you have any thoughts on that, let us know in the comments below and whatnot. But the next bit that I actually didn't realize this, and AJ brought it up, is that Sega, on the other hand, is not doing great.
Yeah, it's an oof, dude. It's an oof, a big old oof.
So, you know more about this than I do, so you can summarize if you want.
Okay, so basically, the pandemic is a thing. I don't know if you guys knew that. And it's hitting Sega's arcade business hard, because I don't know if you guys knew, but arcades are places that you go to, and you
locations in the world.
You got to go outside of your house, and you put quarters into this big old computer tower looking TV thing, and you press buttons and move like joysticks and stuff. They're not doing great right now, so they sold off 85% of that business. I don't know what they are doing with the other 15%, but
maybe the rest is like in hotels or something like that, where people are already going anyway. Like I could see that still doing okay, because people are still traveling some.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that sucks.
It's possible, dude. But yeah, that's a part of that. That's a sign of their financial woes. But on top of that, which I found this interesting, like just the way that they went about doing this. They asked 650 of their employees to, quote, voluntarily retire, and they cut their executive salaries, which that's not as surprising.
What does that even mean? Asking them does that mean we're not going to be able to pay you severance, so we can't quit you? Can't fire you.
but no, it seems like a decisively like Japanese thing of like they're like, we respect you as employees, and we want to like honor you and stuff like that. So if you want to like volunteer to leave instead of us yeeting you out of the company, that'd be great.
I mean, maybe that looks better on resumes too. I don't know. I feel like if you worked at Sega and you were let go during this time window, on your resume still it would be like, yeah, that's when everybody was let go, and anybody else in this industry would be aware of that. So I don't know, that's just me, but yeah, any case, that sucks. And like, I mean, I've been thinking about Sega some recently, because they had mentioned at the way beginning of the year that on the 20th of every month they were going to make some Sonic related announcement, and they missed the first one, and then the second one was,
and then they were just like,
so so yeah, I mean, they haven't really had a lot of things going on or coming out, so hopefully that turns around this next year. Maybe they get themselves kind of more sorted out or something. But.
Yeah, we'll see. That was like one of those things. Well, I don't know about, because I made that initial video at the beginning of the year when they first said that. Where I was like, that'd be great. We're gonna maybe get some cool stuff in 2020, and then that went quiet. And I was like, well, the 30th anniversary is next year, so selling stuff then. And that was like one of those videos that did the opposite of like with the year wrap up videos do in the middle of their life, where people are like, this aged well, like people are like, oh shoot, now we're getting confirmation of all the Mario stuff we already knew plus more, so this is a great year. Maybe Sonic does need something like this. And I was thinking about that. I was like, wait, I'm surprised that we didn't get a whole bunch of like this aged well on the other Sonic video about them doing on the 20th a new announcement and yada yada yada.
Yep. I don't know. But yeah, that sucks for Sega. Hopefully,
yeah, it does.
I don't know. Hopefully, it turns around.
I just see a lot of people posting this and being like, Nintendo should buy Sega, and then also like maybe Microsoft should, like that sort of thing.
I mean, yeah, if any time that it would happen, I guess I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Microsoft is going to buy Sega.
Yeah, I don't think I can't see Microsoft being able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, right, exactly. Yeah, it's not just because of Not like financially or whatever.
Yeah, financially, they could buy freaking Sega 4 times over.
Yeah.
But if not more.
Mm-hmm.
But culturally, I think they're going to put a hard no on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
I think probably what's more
Nintendo,
likely.
like, I can see them selling off IP. I can see them being like, Nintendo, you can have Sonic, and Sony, you can have Persona, and like that's.
Yeah, right, exactly. I could see that for sure. I mean, the other thing is, like, I could see whether it's Sega or some other Japanese developer becoming like a second party Microsoft developer, where, like, because I don't know that they have any connections specifically like that in Japan, where it's, they're not. I mean, it's just like all the second party Nintendo ones.
They do, but I don't know if they do with American companies or Western companies generally.
Yeah.
Because, like, obviously, we know, like, freaking intelligent systems.
Right, yeah. But, I mean, like, the next level games kind of thing, but backwards.
Yeah, there's stuff like that in reverse. Yeah,
yeah.
I was going to say next level games. So,
I mean, that would be cool for Microsoft to do something along those lines. But, yeah, in terms of them buying, it's just not going to happen. But that's
even then, like, I don't even know how – that's not really any different from currently, because, like, right now there will be games where they're second-party developer, like Persona, right, but that doesn't really help their financials actively. Whereas if they were a first party, they don't have to worry about their independent financials because
I guess I'm thinking kind of like Cuphead or whatever too, where like it helps them because on Microsoft is just bankrolling a whole sector of things for a while.
But for that, well, I don't know, because usually in relationships like that, the IP is generally owned by the studio doing it.
So that's like, what I'm thinking is that, like, that at that point, Sega becomes not fully, but at least some of their IP become pretty much Microsoft IP that are like co-owned or something, and they just become developers, whereas Microsoft is the publisher for it. But
so basically like a middle ground of what I was saying, where it's like you sell off your studios and your IP and stuff like that. But instead of doing that, you basically just sell off the rights to your IP and you still develop them.
Yeah.
But they're like tied exclusively.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I think best case scenario, honestly, and it kind of sucks. Best case scenario is that they do completely sell off the IP, because I think that's the only way we're going to get a good Sonic game. It's the only possible way we will ever get a good 3D Sonic game, specifically, I guess.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I mean, it'll suck for like Persona and stuff like that, because like if they sell that off, Sony's probably going to buy that.
Yeah, right.
So no Persona 5 for sure. On Switch.
Indeed. Yeah. So I mean, but if they do sell it off to Nintendo, then maybe we couldn't even just get a 3D Sonic. Maybe we could get a 4D Sonic with their camera technology that they're working on. That was in this here. Okay, yeah. So you know Mario Kart Live. Remember that whole thing, everybody? So it existed, and it seems like it's pretty neat and stuff.
Right.
But somebody at Nintendo, you sent this to me earlier this week, and I read it and I was like, cool. And so we're going to talk about it. But Velen Studios, who recently released Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, blends trending augmented reality technology and the real world around us to create something truly special. The creative team of Velen Studios and Nintendo have spoken to technology publication CNET about the thoroughly ambitious project, which started early development back in mid-2017. Wow, that's so far back. Oh my goodness.
Crazy.
Wow. Both companies say they're very excited to explore what's possible with the ambitious new tech in the years ahead, stating that it's a rich new paradigm to explore in the future. But then here's two quotes, and then we'll talk about it. The breakthrough technology is that we've fundamentally decoupled the camera and sensors from the host device, the Nintendo Switch system, which unlocks all sorts of new possibilities. It's a rich new paradigm to explore in the future. I believe that in Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, it's possible to see the Nintendo philosophy of developing new, unique, integrated hardware and software entertainment, Nintendo's Tamori added. This isn't Nintendo's first hardware experiment, in other words, and it won't be the last. Yeah, I think that is a good point that they were able to split, because they've already done this kind of a thing with the 3DS, had the cameras where you could do the face blast or whatever it's called. Right. But yeah, that was part of the system. And like, obviously you have that with, phones and stuff and various apps, but splitting them up is definitely increases possibilities in terms of you don't have to carry around a handheld and do stuff with it.
Right, and it doesn't have to specifically be like centered around you.
Right.
Because like with the front facing camera and stuff like that, it's like you or what you're directly pointing at in the case of like 3DS.
Yeah.
So
So what's some of our, you and I chatted a little bit about some ideas, but what's some ideas that we have as far as what they could do with this technology?
So what we were talking about was like stuff that specifically is like stuff that's like at your house, but like revisiting it mentally.
Yeah.
This could help them a lot with like Universal Studios stuff.
Absolutely.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And I think that that's an even better way to do like the whole like Splatoon thing that we were talking about before. Because like when I was thinking about the Splatoon thing, I was like, there's a few ways that they could go about doing it, but a lot of the ways I can't see them wanting to do like just in terms of like presenting that to parents, you know, because like it could be like an online multiplayer thing where it's like, here's my room, you know, and like a battleship like turn-based thing almost where it's like, where did I hide the sensors for like the territory, and can you like pick that and then claim that territory in the room or whatever, right? But like they wouldn't want to do that because you're showing like freaking
right
like that.
I think none of this stuff, if you're using cameras, can be online or whatever. And like, you know, can't do, that's why you can't use the switch automatic, the capture feature with Mario Kart Live, because like there could be, you know, actually legally you can't do it because of GDPR in Europe anyway, because there's PPI probably in there somewhere. So there's that. But yeah, interesting. So, I mean, there's, you know, still, obviously you can do it as long as you can't capture it and then you're fine.
Yeah. Well, even that, I just think they wouldn't want to do it. Like, not even a legality thing. I just think that that's the sort of thing that Nintendo's like, now we want to protect families.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Sort of
yeah.
Not even like a legal obligation.
Yeah. I mean, because there's so much bad PR that could come out of that anyway, you know, and like then parents won't want to buy it. And that's the 90% of the target demographic is.
You're not getting that. That's not.
So at
that's
this
not
point,
going to be on the $1 million list.
No. So what would your idea be as far as
I think if they did Splatoon, it would have to be a Universal Studios thing, because then they could still do a similar idea to that, and then have it be like a place that you go to when the world's not on fire anymore, you know, or in Japan, I guess, because the world's not on fire there entirely.
So how I'm trying to envision, so how would it use, even at Universal Studios, how would it use the cameras and stuff, and you do
it would use the cameras as like to visualize the inking process,
and then you wear like AR glasses or something like that. Okay.
Or you
and
just
then
have your Switch, like you just bring your Switch with you, and then you do it like that.
Yep. No, that'd be cool. One of the ideas that I had too, this is like more within the Mario Kart kind of regular frame, and this isn't something that I think they quite could do, just because it would end up being more expensive than it would be worth it. But Star Fox in your house, but instead of like drones are possible, but it's too much chaos, like it's just not going to work. So but instead,
and that would be insane as far as like pricing, because people are already like a $100 RC car, and it's like what's that anyway, you know? But like a drone, you know, like drones can get up there, you know, in price.
And so I mean, drone, even besides pricing, it would just be just hard for so many reasons. Like, but the idea that I did have is, I'm pretty sure there's things where I don't know exactly how this would work. And again, this is in the realm where it's too expensive, it wouldn't happen, but it's a way that I could see it happening, because Star Fox is an on-rail shooter. You could have essentially, like, if you have 4 poles that you have set up, or like rails that you have set up in, like, for anybody who's just listening, think about like a square, and then that square just like keeps going, you know, like if you're looking into the square, there's poles that keep going straight away from you. And then between those is like a space, this, you know,
like checkpoints, like a.
Well, so you would have the R-wing on like 2 wires that are a cross section, like an X going between that square, that it can move, you know, any direction, like across those, or maybe not an X. I don't know what all axes it would have to have, but pretty much where within that square, the R-Wing could like fly around in there, and then you can like shoot at things. I don't know exactly, like it's hard to exactly explain, but in my mind it kind of works.
How would it turn around? It would only be able to.
So it would just go like you would be able to make some kind of like
you do all right,
circle with it, or you know, something like that. And then at that point, and so you wouldn't be racing against anybody else. It would just be single player, but it would be, you know, objective based or whatever, where it would have different things that you'd be able to shoot, and it'd be able to turn a little bit just within its thing. But it would just be a kind of regular on rails shooter, but in your house. And again, it's too complicated to work in real life, but in my mind, that would be neat.
That would get broken immediately.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There's so many reasons it wouldn't work, but you know, it was an idea at least that I had. The other problem with some of these ideas is just the fact that like an RC car, you know, we're talking about this, but like an RC car, a drone, whatever, those are kinds of things that they physically exist already in our real world. So merging the two together can work, but like a platforming toy just doesn't work. You know, like people are trying so hard to get robots, like million dollar robots, to just walk like we do, and it's hard. So getting a platforming toy in real life, like you can't have a Mario platformer. It's like he's jumping around my house, because he'll just fall on his back and he'll die. But
and there's like stuff like I flew the idea of like Pokemon Snap that they could do pretty easily, where it's like it could just be freaking, you could use your amiibos, but it would be very expensive. But then again, you know what, that would be a thing that I could see them doing, and it would do really well, like financially for them, because it could just be this like free form thing of like, you have your own Safari, set up your own Pokemon Snap, you know, and it's like every Pokemon's available for amiibo, all $12.99, you know, like, and there would be like, it would be super expensive, but there's going to be a good amount of people that would buy every single one of those, and it would be very worth it.
At least some YouTubers.
And then the sensible people are going to be like, I'm going to buy freaking 10 Pokemon that I care about, you know? Like, so
yeah, man, it's true.
Or they could do it in the other direction, where it's like, all right, we're going to make these ones $5, and even then that adds up super fast and stuff like that. So. But it's just, that would be harder to like gamify in a way that makes you want to play it more than once. But even then, I don't even know how much most people would want to play Mario Kart Home Circuit more than once. It's very much so similar to like the board game situation, where like certain people come over your house, and either
we're gonna spend 7 hours setting up a crazy thing.
Yeah, exactly. Either like you're showing it to them for the first time, it's like, look at this, we're gonna set up this thing or whatever, or like there's gonna be a few people within that demographic that love it, and every time they come over your house, they're like, where's the Mario Kart thing?
It does feel kind of like, for the majority of people, it feels very similar to Lego in the sense that
Labo and stuff like that, where it's like
the joy is in setting it up more. I mean, it's also in playing it. It sounds like people, you know, said it's really fun and stuff, but you also, if you don't want to set it up, you can just play actual Mario Kart 8 or whatever. But setting it up and having the creative time and all that, like that's, you know, that's like Lego, where like I've probably told this story on here before, but I remember being 7 with my dad. We spent 3 hours setting up a Lego castle, and I was like, this is fun and whatever. He was like, well, I'd better go and get back to work. And I'm like, but we haven't even started playing yet. Because in my mind, playing was the like, hey, are you going to go to this guy? You know, like that, like role playing or whatever. And realizing that that's like, no, the fun is setting it up more so than just doing it. So, yeah, I'm curious what other ideas they have. Some other franchises that we talked about was like something Donkey Kong, something Zelda, like maybe crossbow training somehow in that realm, and Splatoon. But yeah, could be fun.
But
F-Zero,
Mario Kart,
very fast. But yeah, and then the last news bit is just that Switch production has completely recovered. And that's it. That's not a lot to talk about, but cool. Glad it has.
Dude. Sick.
That is the news for today. Now we're going to get into you guys' comments. First up, you made a video and you talked about some stuff. Any thoughts on it before we get into the comments?
Pokemon, dude. I freaking started on this video I mean, like the video overall, like the initial idea, I started on like regular amount of time where I was like, I want to do this. And then I started writing the video and I was like, wait, Pokemon's freaking 25th anniversary. And I was like, all right, I'll just script it and do that. And I was like, wait, no, this is a whole video. Like, I gotta make this a whole video. So then I started doing that. And here we are. Here it is.
There's the thing.
I'm mostly full of comments of people being disagreeing with something.
That's always the most fun. Yeah. So Travis Carroll said, I don't think HD 3D models are necessarily better looking than the original models. I think Gen 4 is remarkable because of how they mastered 2D graphics. Gen 4 are still the prettiest Pokemon games, if you ask me.
One, I disagree. Two, that's not what I was getting at. Like I was like obviously like subjectively like saying this looks better than blah, blah, like that doesn't mean anything because I can say that Mario Odyssey looks better than the original Super Mario Brothers, but there's people that feel otherwise because subjectively maybe they like pixel art better, like this person, right? I was just saying that it's more technically impressive than those games were because like they're trying to approximate 3D through pixels. It was like pixel art style and stuff like that. Whereas now we have full on polygonal models and stuff, you know, in HD on top of just the fact that they had the one advancement where it's like we have 3D models now, and now these 3D models are being rendered in HD, you know, like that's a technical step. Objectively.
And I don't remember the exact context of where you said this, but the other thing of it, I guess also just being more useful, like having the 3D models means that you can do more with them because like, whereas there's limitations to the
hand draw the pixels to
and like, cause even, with pixel art, like you can upscale the pixels and stuff like that. But if you're like, you know what, I want this, 8-bit stuff to be 16-bit now or whatever, like it doesn't just automatically translate like that.
Do that. Like you have to
So
that.
I mean, and not to say you don't also have to do that with these, but you're using the same.
Well, you do, but you don't.
Because
like exactly. you make the model, you rig the model, and then you animate that rig, you know. Whereas with pixel art, if it's like, this animation's not working, you have to physically draw, or not draw, but, like go in there and digitally draw the pixel art to do the animation.
I'm just thinking back to Dexit and all that stuff, but mostly when people were complaining about, because when you mentioned animations, when people were complaining that the animations for some Pokemon were the same as animations in like Pokemon Me or whatever it was. And that's like, just very funny. I don't know. Like the obvious retort that people brought up after the fact was like, because it's supposed to be a living being theoretically that like, that's the way that they move.
How it moves.
And that's just how it does it. So like, not only would they want to do it because it's like, oh, we already have movement for it. Let's leave the movement for it. But also like, oh, we have movement for it. That's the way that it moves. We're going to keep that because obviously you won't see me walking to us like down the street and then later see me walking the same way because I have the same gait or whatever and be like, Parker's copying his walk from earlier.
And it's like even beyond that, like in production, like people do that all the time. I literally like I was showing Youth Hurt how to edit, and I would like. There's so many times where I'll like when I was editing my part for your video, I kept my last video like because usually I'll like put this stuff in like a drive or whatever and then I'll delete the project. But this time I intentionally kept the part of the project when I was editing your part of the video so I can repurpose the keyframe animation from the last video that I made so I don't have to do it all over again. I went in and I changed stuff and I, but there's so many times where people do that exact thing where it's like, I'll straight up copy a full animation whenever there's like a, where I'm like attributing like footage to somebody where it's like this footage is from so-and-so. I'll literally just take that animation, I'll drag and drop the whole thing, like the text and everything, and just change the name of the thing. And it's like, that's the animation. That's what it looks like, like.
There's a Simpsons episode where they go to the the place that does the Itchy and Scratchy cartoons or whatever. And the guy who makes the cartoons is like, yeah, sometimes we'll even just use the same background frames over and over because, you know, it just makes production easier. And while he's saying that, they're walking down a hallway that has the same water fountain, lady mopping, water fountain, lady mopping, water fountain. And it's like the same things over and over. And I always enjoy that kind of stuff a lot. But yeah, that's just all that works, stuff. Dude.
Otherwise, you would never get things. You know, like stuff would never come out if like producers weren't able to make those shortcuts and do stuff like that, because everything would take forever, especially with freaking 1,000 Pokemon.
Yeah, man alive. Pika Pika 1 says, I think people just had too high expectations of Pokemon first home console release. Hopefully people don't go crazy like with Sword and Shield. Remember, the Pokemon devs were used to using underpowered handhelds, so I think that expectation should be at a medium until they understand the Switch better.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it, yeah, go ahead.
I think that it's weird that people have such high expectations for Pokemon games, because Pokemon games have with the exception of maybe like Pokemon Stadium, Pokemon games have literally never been technically impressive. You know, like there's like some artistic like cheat codes that they do that are impressive, like some of the pixel animation that they do with specifically Gen 5, where it's like they took the time to make this like 3D looking like throw animation for the Pokeball, like the Pokemon trainers when they throw in the Pokemon and stuff like that. Like that sort of stuff is like technically impressive because it's like, oh, that's a neat workaround for a technical limitation, but it's not impressive in the sense that's like, man, look at these textures and stuff like that.
Right,
they always looked bad in that sense, always. You know, and they like, even then, like the 3DS games ran like garbage and stuff like that. It's like, come on, dude.
I mean, I guess it's hard when you have high hopes for something, then it's easy for that to translate over to expectations when like it's the whole thing of, if we've been thinking, you know, for years and years, like one day it's going to be on home console, then they won't have limitations and stuff. But then like,
anybody does that, I do that. You know, like, that's like literally like I was looking at the amount of videos that I have, and I was looking at the Pokemon playlist. We all know that Pokemon playlist is at least 75% videos that I made.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
I have 200 and something videos overall. So that means about half of my videos are Pokemon videos. So like, and most of those are like, this would be cool, you know? So it's like, I know that like, oh, look at all the stuff that we could do with consoles and stuff like that. But at the same time, you have to be realistic in the sense that like, they're not a developer like freaking CD Projekt Red or even Nintendo EPD. So like expecting technical prowess on that level, especially with a franchise that's like freaking 1,000 living creatures, on top of the fact that they got to animate the world around it, on top of the fact that they got to animate human characters, you know?
Right.
It's like, you know, I can only expect but so much.
I mean, I think the other thing too is, like I think like Pika Pika said, you know, they only understand the Switch so much. That's definitely valid. But then also like just having the truncated development cycle that they have means that now that there's more to be done, because it's, you know, A, on new hardware, but then also B, it's on HD hardware now for the first time. That means, like they're just
having the same shift that most developers had 6 years ago.
Right.
Longer than that now, a decade ago, you know, and even more so because the shift between standard definition gaming and 720p gaming for like on the Xbox 360 and stuff like that, those games were rough too, and they took a lot longer and spent a lot more money and stuff like that on making the shift than even Pokemon Company and Game Freak and all them did. And they went from sub-standard definition to 1080p. So they didn't make a shift from 480i or 480p or whatever to 720p. They made a shift from 240p to 1080p. That's wild. With 1,000 living creatures, animated humans, you know, like vibrant backgrounds and like an environment and stuff like that. It's like, come on, dude. Like,
and it's not to say that we can't want more from it from the future, but I think being realistic about the present is important.
You can definitely want more, but demanding more and this like super like entitled way of like, I want this, so if you're not making it, you're not doing your job, you're a crappy company, you're lazy, blah blah blah, all this other crap is like Come on.
Yeah. Beckham Nobles says, well, the story in DP were bigger, in a sense, grander, but not better than Black and White. But Gen 5's story was deeper, more well thought out, and better on a critic standpoint. But I would greatly disagree on the epic part. Yeah, you see, if you mean big, yes, Gen 4 was a scotch more epic. Skosh. A little bit more epic. But on a story standpoint, Gen 5 had a better and deeper story in the sense of how the story was portrayed and made. Gen 5 is more epic. This seems a little bit nitpicky, but
yeah. But also, this is another comment that's like trying to argue a point that I'm not trying to make. Like I never said that the story was better. I'm saying that there's more epic set pieces because they're literal gods in this game, and the whole point of that part of the video was to be like, this is something that's like easy animation fodder of like, look at how great we are at animating things, whereas like Gen 5 was more like existential and like, should we really be using Pokemon as battle creatures and stuff? Like, do they want to be that, or are they our friends, or are they our tools? Like, and that way. And even that, like, I wouldn't argue that point because I think all Pokemon stories on a baseline are garbage. Like, none of them are good. Like so being like this story is better than this story doesn't really mean anything because the story in terms of like went to B, went to C, and then everybody had a happy ending and stuff like that is bad. The good thing about Pokemon is its lore. Its stories are bad. Like, so
that's
I never was arguing that.
I know we've talked about making like building the perfect Pokemon game video at some point, but that's a part that'll be really interesting to talk about. And I feel like we talked about maybe with Ian too, or maybe we talked about it in terms of Zelda.
I think I was talking to Ian about this exact thing on stream where we were talking about like story versus lore in Pokemon.
But like, what's a way to make the the Pokemon story interesting? Because the key part of the story is you're going around and collecting a bunch of Pokemon. And it's one of those things where like in Breath of the Wild, it's weird where like, quick, you got to beat Ganon as quick as possible. And you're like, but I've got like 300 more Koroks that I want to go find in these little bushes or whatever, so there's, a disconnect there, but what's a way to make that story actually be something that's interesting, or does it even matter? And should you not focus too much on that at all? I don't know.
I think if they're going to care about story, they need to separate it from the campaign in the sense that like it's two separate things. It's like, okay, either the thing that makes the most sense is if you do the traditional campaign first and you're like, you become this full-fledged trainer now, you're a champion. So now we can throw like a evil big bad at you or whatever, right? And work the lore into that, right? Because now the story is just positioned in a way that they can tell that story and naturally intertwine that into the traditional Pokemon journey, but you shouldn't really have to worry about that because it just makes all of it worse because you can't really like fully focus on either one of those things. And that's why it's like the time that they tried to focus on the one thing, where it's like the story is the Pokemon journey last gen or this gen, people are like, oh, it's not a good story. But I think that the best way to do it is like logically and stuff like that is to like separate those two things, do a story that's that works in more of the lore rather than it just being like this like low hanging fruit. Because like at the end of the day, the Gen 5 thing, low hanging fruit. Like the story of like, are Pokemon our friends or are they our war tools? Like that's low hanging fruit. Freaking like extremist Christians and stuff were telling that story in the early 90s, like
my favorite, if anybody's not seen this, there's a video called Pokemon Power. Okay, so again, pastor's kid, missionary kid over here. My parents are very fine with me playing Pokemon stuff, but I also had friends like just right next to me that they were not allowed to play Pokemon. So there's that. It's funny, but all that to say, it's a video called it's one of those like Song of Five videos called Pokemon Power. And it's a preacher from like the 90s or whatever, talking about how evil Pokemon is, and they auto-tuned it and all that stuff. And when you hear it, first of all, it'll be stuck in your head for days, but it's also just super, super funny. I'll find it. I'll leave it in the show notes. So if you're listening to this, just look in the description. It'll be there unless I forget, in which case just remind me and I'll find it.
Nice.
It's very funny, but yeah, exactly. It's low hanging fruit for that reason. And then also, that's like pretty much what video was I watching recently? I think it was a Game Maker Toolkit video that was talking about, I don't remember what video it was, but it was talking about like concepts that you kind of just don't really think about them at the time when you're like playing a game as a kid or when you're playing it for the first time. And then suddenly you think back on it later and you're like, oh, that's kind of weird that we're doing this thing. And that's all it is like, yeah, man, I really want to know what that was called that they were talking about because it was interesting to me. But it was interesting where just like, yeah, it's pretty, that is exactly Pokemon is. You don't think about it at all as a kid and then suddenly you do and you're like, well, that's pretty messed up. But yeah.
But yeah, it just like, that is the problem with Pokemon. Like arguing like which story is better is like it doesn't matter because all of them suck. Like all spade is spade. It's like that's not why you're playing Pokemon.
Yep.
I mean that extends to video games in general. It's like for the most part, video game stories are meh because they're all like, remember that story that was in that one book? Let's do our version of that. You know, like And that's the best stories, like the ones that are lauded as like The Last of Us. Is like it's literally the same type of like zombie story that we've been telling all the time, but it's a video game now, so it's incredible. You know.
I remembered what video it was. By the way, it was Brian David Gilbert, who's I guess now at Polygon, and made a video talking about the punji pits in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4, which is like the spike pits or whatever, but it's specifically the name of like very banned things in it was like Vietnam guerrilla warfare. They would make it out of like sharpened sticks instead of just I don't know. It's a very specific thing, but he talked about the fact that along with other things like specifically Pokemon are things that you just gloss over. Like, oh yeah, there's a spike pit in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. Like whatever. That's funny. And then you think about later as an adult and it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of weird. And it was named specifically after the thing from the Vietnam War that's now banned by the UN. And like, whoa. But at the time, it was like
that's the thing that would make the Pokemon store like incredible. If they worked the lore of like some of these Pokemon, like the Pokedex, just go through the Pokedex one of these days and like just like let your mind wander the type of crazy stories that they can like position these games around. But they don't do it. It just always at best it's like evil crime syndicate has some type of existential question for you to ponder within your head, and it's like
right.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, there's some, I don't know exactly what it is off the top of my head, but there's some very easy Thanos fodder kind of thing where like, in the sense that like he and Killmonger, of all the Marvel supervillains, definitely have the most like compelling kinds of arguments where it's like, is that a good point? Do I agree with the bad guy a little bit? You know, that kind of thing. Also, I watched a show recently, Utopia. It's on Amazon Prime. And same kind of thing where like they make the bad guy be like, yeah, I don't really want to do this, but for the good of the world, I'm going to do it. And it's bad, but it's what you got to do. And like those kinds of things, I feel like there's a lot of that opportunity in Pokemon that they aren't going to take advantage of because it's like, you know, too dark for kids, I guess. But maybe also could just go over kids' heads and they wouldn't notice and only their parents would watch it and be like, oh.
True. Like freaking, what is that movie? WAAY.
Yeah, exactly.
Or every Pixar movie, honestly. Freaking Toy Story 4.
There's a bunch of Pixar movies I haven't seen. I need to go back and watch them.
I think so. It was like a long string of time where it's like I saw every Pixar movie, and then I think it was like Brave was like the first one that I was like, well, I didn't see it. For whatever reason. I don't have a problem with it. It's just I didn't see that, and then after that, it was like, okay, now there's no more every movie that I've seen.
Exactly same trajectory. I don't think it wasn't Brave. I saw Brave. I want to say it was either. Oh wait, actually, I never saw Ratatouille at the time because it was. I thought it was not a Pixar movie or something. And then I think afterwards, when I realized that, I was like, oh, I haven't seen every Pixar movie. Then I didn't watch the next one, and then same kind of thing.
Like, I haven't seen Good Dinosaur.
Same.
I said, I still haven't seen Brave.
Cars 3. Did they make a Cars 3? I think so.
They made a Cars 3.
I haven't seen that.
Cars 2 or
I saw Cars 2. Incredibles 2 was not nearly as good as it could have been. Onward is one I would like to watch that every time I suggest It's on Disney Plus. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like in the zeitgeist, and I was like, I have Disney Plus. And it's fine.
I want to watch it, and Ashley was really excited about it ahead of time. But literally every time, I'm like, hey, you want to watch Onward? She's like, oh, I don't know if I feel like up to it right now. I'm like, when are we gonna watch this movie? So I want to watch it, but I don't know what is going to happen. It's funny because we watch way more serious stuff, but I think she just knows like it's going to hit her in the feels. It's about, a dad and stuff. Right. I don't know. Like, I get it, but at the same time, like, okay, but I want to watch it though. Moving on. Mega Man left a comment on your video and said, I think you guys have nailed it on the head with this video. Gen 4 remakes, Snap, some TCG stuff. I like Parker's thought process around revamping the older games, and I would love to see the TCG added onto Switch, even if it's just the online version, but could be played on Switch. I think that would be dope.
It'd be sick.
Yeah.
I'm down. I think if they put the freaking TCG thing on Switch, I would at least try to play it, and then like if I like it, I'll be hit me up, Pokemon Company, more cards.
That's right. Well, what's funny, the whole time I was talking about TCG, I was thinking just the Game Boy, trading card game on, but then you put the other stuff, and I was like, actually, because like there's an app, right?
I put the Game Boy, I put the Game Boy one on there, but I put
you did, so because you had both, which diversified from what I was already saying, which was good, but because there's an app where you could just play the game, right? With like the cards that you download from the thing. Yeah, that would be awesome. If we could just do that, that would be fun. I don't know why I like the Pokemon trading card game so much, but
I don't think I had it, but I don't think I ever like played it. I was like definitely one of those like Christmas gifts or something that like my aunts or whatever were like.
She was like, he likes Pokemon.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And then, like, little did they know what me and my sister used to do. I had freaking thousands of Pokemon cards. Yeah, we just used to throw them all over our room. It's like, it's a Pokemon card party, dude. Pokemon cards.
I love stuff like that. I remember my grandma one Christmas was like, oh, Parker likes Pokemon cards, and she gave me a whole stack of Pokemon cards that she bought, that some like maybe she paid like $5 for, to a neighbor kid that was like getting rid of them, and it was like the best card of the whole bunch was like a Pidgeotto, and it was like all just like 23 Staryu's and 17 Bellsprouts and stuff. And so I was just like, I guess I've got some deck fodder or something, like, but it was the thought that counts. She didn't know the difference. She was like, it's Pokemon cards,
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, cool, thanks.
I've since played it on my computer a long time ago. It's fine. Yeah. But like, if it's on my Switch, I gotta figure it out, like, be good at it. I've got to be an elite Pokemon or whatever.
That's true.
Elite Smash equivalent. I have to. It would be required of me.
It's accurate.
So do it.
There you go. So you made that video, and then I made a video on Animal Crossing. I pulled a couple of comments, but then also, man, you guys did fantastic at commenting on this video. Like,
that's true.
I mean, I did a call out right at the beginning of the video, which I was a little bit afraid that would hurt retention time some, to where which is just a fancy word of like that people would watch the video, see that I ask a question for comments or right at the beginning, and then be like, I don't want to watch this video. He's asking me to write a comment, and then dip out. But you didn't, and that's great.
That's the thing. Like, I used to be scared of that. But then I realized that everybody does that. Like, everybody, there's so many freaking videos that like the first 30 seconds, and it's all, I would say a lot of like YouTube like consultants and stuff like that advise you to like pitch the video, tell people that they should subscribe to your channel, ask them to engage with the video in the comments within the first 30 seconds. So it's like, after I saw all that, I was like, and the fact that so many people do that, I was like, well, screw it. Like, so I'll freaking tell them to subscribe. And the first
this ratio of there's 122 likes on the video and 112 comments. You guys are insane. That's awesome. So that was fun. But the first thing that I asked for, and I'm going to share my screen again here in a second, excuse me, is I asked for everybody to write when the last time they like played the game was, and I was going to make a chart, and I didn't make a good chart, but I made one. Chart. It exists. I was like, I don't know that I have a great way to visualize this information, but here's a chart of the 63 people that I got answers for by the time I started making this, and then I had to work all day, this is assuming everybody started playing in March, which probably for the people that answered is mostly the case. At least based on the comments that people left. I don't know that anybody started in the middle, but this is how many people of the 63 are still playing now, which I will say is a lot more than I anticipated based on who I thought was going to be watching the video. So that's awesome. Right. So long story short, if you're not watching and you're just listening, the chart starts off 63 people in March. And then by about July, we're down to 47, and November, 32. So that's 32 people that watched the video about stopping playing Animal Crossing, saying they're still playing Animal Crossing. So there's a lot of people still playing Animal Crossing, needless to say.
It's true.
I think it's just going to be a silent majority, like I feel like I've said that a lot of times, but
it's like the original, because the beginning of this, the genesis of the Animal Crossing thing on our channel was me being like, dude, I'm telling you, this is a giant franchise. People love this thing, right? And it's like nobody knew that. Nobody knew that Animal Crossing was a huge franchise, but now it became big, and a lot of newer people joined in, and it almost doubled in size, if not more than that, when it's all said and done. So it's like, these people play this game and they buy it every single time, they all sell at least 11, 12 million units or whatever, and they just play it. They're not making a big deal about it. They're not posting on Twitter. They might be like, oh, look at this outfit that I got or whatever. Right. But for the most part, they just casually play it. They're just freaking grandmas that check into their Animal Crossing island every day for the past 7 years or whatever.
Right.
On the 3DS.
So, a lot of people, I think, and that's the thing, there was, some people talked about, I think the way that people played it, I'd be curious to see people's ratios or whatever, where the people that are playing it now, did they also play less at the beginning and it's been more spread out the whole time? Or did they also have as big of a bump at the beginning and then it, drew out and stuff?
I would assume that, I don't know if it's as big. I don't know if it's because people at the beginning, the new fans and stuff like that, they're playing for 8 hours, because they're trying to get the thing, they're trying to get to their objective. They want to have their island in a certain type of way and blah, blah, blah. But I could assume that they play it more often than they would now, they probably
for sure.
And they played for 6 hours, and now they play for 2 hours a day or whatever. And it's more like
that definitely seems to be the theme in a lot of these comments, is people saying that I played a lot more at the beginning, but I still play now. I dip in every day, do my dailies and stuff. And that's the thing. I think for me, I seldom cared about my dailies, quote unquote. And Seven, for example, talked about checking in with their villagers and those kinds of things. And that's something that I don't care about my villagers that much. If any of my villagers asked me to move out, I'd be like, yeah, man, have a good old time. And okay, this is the thing. I was going to say this before recording, but I was going to wait till now. I was so happy that the day I happened to log on to do this video and stuff, and maybe I know it's the way the game's programmed and stuff, maybe it was bound to happen anyway. But the fact that any of my villagers asked to leave that day, I was so happy, because that was part of the thing I was going to talk about. And I was like, I really hope somebody asks to leave so that I can use that in the video itself. And then they did. And so, it was Marina. And I don't, like I said, the only person I care about, I think, on my island is, and I forgot his name. Big Top. He's the elephant that I gave a polka dot pink dress to forever ago, and he loves it. He has not stopped wearing it, and it's just, and he wears this big goofy green hat, helmet thing, and this pink dress on top of his racing stripe uniform, and he looks so dumb, and I love it so much. But yeah, generally, I just don't care that much about. I don't feel like I'm in my island. I'm not invested in it. It's more of a project than a lifestyle. Yeah. Whereas I think the people that are still playing it, they're more legitimately invested in a way that's, actually fun to be in there for a while, as opposed to just I'm going to finish this project and get everything tightened up.
I'm
and then
here to do a thing. I'm not here because I want to be. I want to do the thing. I have to be here to do the thing that I want to do.
Yeah.
And once I'm done with the thing that I want to do, I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah. So that's that. So all I'd say, I'm very glad that so many people are still enjoying the game. there were definitely some people that were like, you know, what the reason I'm not playing the game is because Nintendo hasn't updated it or hasn't done this or that. And those things I think are valid for, I think those things are valid. We touched on those in the video, but let's talk about these two comments that I pulled. Actually, I'm going to switch the order. Let's do Cool Cools first. Cool Cools said, I was actually going to ask in the QA comments for the podcast for any tips for the game. I'm buying it for me and my girlfriend this weekend to play together. Also, if I should buy the game in the first place or if Pikmin would be a better choice. I'll let you answer first.
If you're buying it for you and your girlfriend and you're okay with, you know, or either one of you are okay with like
sharing an island,
conceding to the other person's will, where it's like, I want the island to look like this, you know, then I would say definitely get Animal Crossing. I think that it's a better game to like play together in that way.
I mean, on that note too, I would say if you care firstly about Animal Crossing and also happen to want to play it with your significant other, just this is for anybody, then get it on two separate Switches. If you care mostly about your significant other and then Animal Crossing is a fun thing to do that with, then which is the case for you, it sounds like cool, then get it on the same Switch. Because like,
right, but I will also say that it depends on like if that's the truth
right,
both ways, right?
Because
exactly. If they just care about doing something with you, there's no point in getting another Switch, you know?
Right, exactly, yeah. So I think that's Mitch and Catherine have one Switch that they play Animal Crossing. I mean, they don't really play it anymore, but they played it on, and then Ashley and I have two separate Switches. Right. And I think that worked out well where like I know Ashley had like more specific things that she wanted to do on her island. Right. And since we already had Switches anyway, this way we could visit each other's islands and that's fun. But if you only have one Switch between you and you're happy to have the same island and work on it together, that's a fun project to have. But it does mean there's going to be little things that you might want to not do in a day so that she can do them or vice versa, because you can't both, you know, dig up. There'll only be enough fossils for one of you to dig up in a day, that kind of a thing maybe. So. As far as tips for the game, though, those kinds of things is, you know, be conscientious of each other if you're going to be playing it. Making sure that you don't just do all the things and then have the other person not have something to do, I guess. But otherwise, just take your time, you know, have fun with it.
I would say definitely pace yourself. I think the best way to play the game is very not how most people play the game, where it's like, I got to finish this thing now, you know, like just take it as it comes and have an idea in mind with what you want your island to look like and let that be malleable, you know, so that you can enjoy it for as long as you possibly can, especially since it's like a thing that you're doing alongside your girlfriend and it's not just this thing that you want to do for yourself and move on, you know?
Yeah. I mean, and especially with, the turnip trader and all that kind of stuff is useful, but just don't, you know, like you break the economy so quickly.
But then again, maybe do, because I know like my aunt that plays this game, she was like, her villager was in my island and stuff like that. I told her that, and I was like, you're gonna break this game for yourself. And she's like, no, I just want to like customize the things and like change my clothes all the time and do all that stuff. This gives me the ability to do that. And I was like, okay, cool. And she still plays the game, so so there some people like God mode, you know.
I mean, that's the thing, I guess. If it breaks the loop depending on what you've let the loop become for you. Right. If the loop is the growth process, then it breaks that for sure. But if the loop for you has more to do with the content, like the specific things, then that stuff's kind of endless, I guess, you know. Right. I do think, here's one of my, not gripes with the game, but something that a lot of people have said, is just that there is a lot of like furniture items or whatever, like cosmetic things that have been in other games that they haven't brought forward yet. And I'm sure they're going to do that in like a big, like the anniversary update that has furniture things. But it does seem like even just watching Ashley go to her island, the Timmy and Tommy is just at this point has repeats of the same stuff all the time. And so like logging in to not know if you're going to find anything new in a day is kind of a bit disappointing. So that's something that outside of just having like, there's a bunch of new Halloween furniture, or there's a bunch of new, this kind of furniture. I do think they should be maybe scattering some of that stuff in a little bit more often. And maybe there are, and I'm just not more aware of it. But I think that would help it feel more fresh.
Or even just with how big this game is, actively work towards developing new things in that area rather than just bringing stuff back.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but like, more furniture sets and stuff I think would be helpful for a lot of people. I mean, it's still, you can, at that point, once there's just a whole new furniture set, you can also just then go to Nookazon and get the whole thing really fast, which then breaks it again. So it's, it just depends how you play. But and then the last comments, I only pulled 2 comments because I mostly did the chart thing, but this one is more on the game of the year part. But Makoto Yuki said, to be honest, the whole game of the year thing is kind of outdated. I don't know. Game of the month, I can understand, but there's no way I can play a game, especially in Animal Crossing, for more than 3 months straight.
This is another one of those comments where it's like you're arguing against a point that we're not trying to make. It's not about what is your individual game of the year. It's the fact that this game had a huge, and it's still continuing to have a huge impact on the year. Freaking Joe Biden is campaigning Animal Crossing. You can't you may have dropped the game after a month or a week or whatever the case may be. That's fine. But there's no other game that impacted the general populace like Animal Crossing did this year. There's even games like Fall Guys and, Among Us and stuff like that. Those are way smaller in scope in terms of like the amount of people that were like in love with this game for any period of time. So it's just,
I think,
there's no real argument.
It sounds like also maybe what you're talking about isn't a game of the year, but it's a game for the year in terms of like, I'm going to buy one game this year and I'm going to play this for the whole year or something, which in that case, that's true. A game of the, like having a game of the month or whatever, there's for a lot of people that are like avid gamers.
There's like a game for the year sort of thing. That's completely dependent on the person.
100%.
Like there's no game like that can have that title for everybody.
Even Breath of the Wild.
I could literally, because in a lot of ways I do, just play Smash Brothers for the life of my Switch and be entirely fine. But that's not the case for everybody. You know?
Yeah.
And there's people that could literally just play Animal Crossing for the rest of their life of their Switch and just be fine.
But I mean, even like I was pretty much done playing most of Breath of the Wild in like June of the year that it came out before the DLC, and then played that and then the last DLC. So like, had some bumps there that like I picked it back up. But even that, which was definitely my, that's my game of the year, game of the decade, game of the whatever. But as far as it being my game for the year, like, no, I just would have not been playing games for a while then after that. So I think it's just a different way of thinking about that than
I think the type of game that Animal Crossing is and the way that most people that buy Animal Crossing generally play Animal Crossing painted everybody's perspective. Like they expected the game to grab them specifically for as long as it grabs the Animal Crossing fandom. Right. And people ding it for that. But if you think about most games, nobody's playing freaking The Last of Us 2 for a month, worth of time. Like it might take you a month to beat it, but you're still putting in the same 20 hours that everybody else is putting in.
Right.
Whereas with Animal Crossing, it's like this thing that people put 250 hours in, like I don't care like how fast you specifically may have done that. You still put the 250 hours in. That's a normal lifespan, if not significantly longer than most other games tend to have. So like it's disingenuous to like knock it for that because you burnt out on it in a like chronological short amount of time, right? Where it's like you still put the same 250 hours in that you might have put into a different game across 4 months or whatever in 2 months, but that's not the game's fault. That's your fault.
It would be interesting for me, kind of taking a step back from part of this conversation, but of like, in terms of game of the year, what would, the Jeff Keighley and their team or whatever, like the Game Awards, that's the words I was thinking of. how would they define what it means to be the game of the year for them? Because I think for me, like, it seems if we're talking about a game for 2020 that, like, you know, like we said in the video a million times, like means 2020, it's Animal Crossing. But for a lot of people in the comments, like people were like, no, it's for sure Ghost of Tsushima or this whatever other thing. Some of them were saying for themselves, which that's totally reasonable. That I can feel that.
Which
but in terms of like talking about for the year as a whole, and like what I'm curious about is how would they define it differently than the way I'm defining it? Is it something maybe more like the most breathtaking game of the year?
I think all of them define it differently at different points in time. That's why it's like I don't even look at it like that, because like a lot of times they're like, okay, what's the most technically impressive game? But not every game that matters is technically impressive. I would say most games that matter are not.
I mean, and even then, like, yeah, not all games that are technically impressive matter either. It's the other way too. You know, like there's some games that are like, wow, that's crazy that it's doing whatever it's doing, but like also kind of who cares? You know?
Yeah, because like Ghost of Tsushima for me, it was like, okay, it's another third-person Sony game that I don't care about the theming for, so I'm going to skip this game and I don't care. You know, but for others, it's like, oh man, I love this type of game, and this is the only one that's like this year, so it's my game of the year.
Yeah,
whatever, you know. But like, I think that Jeff Keighley and outlets and stuff like that, they usually look for things that accomplish something that like notably changed the landscape. So like a lot of times they will give game of the year to something like The Walking Dead or Pokemon Go or, you know, Breath of the Wild, right? So like I think it's honestly
wait, did they give it to Pokemon Go?
Some outlets did. I don't know if the Game Awards did. I don't even know if it was nominated at the Game Awards.
Game Awards 2016. I'm pretty sure it wasn't.
Yeah, I don't think it was
given to Pokemon Go, but I'm curious. I think it was Overwatch 1.
Yeah, it was definitely Overwatch, but I don't know if it was even nominated.
It wasn't nominated. Yeah, no. I mean, it might have been probably in mobile game if they had that category at the time. I don't think they had that category at the time.
Yeah, I don't even think it wasn't even nominated there, but I know that.
Oh yeah, it was. There was a best mobile handheld game and it won that, which obviously that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a great example of like that's the game that most like. I mean, well,
the most. And the thing about it is like, a lot of games media tries to like funnel in what games mean, right? For a long time, they would separate digital games away from games that had a retail presence, right?
Yeah,
so like something like or not Ori, something like Super Meat Boy or whatever wouldn't even be qualified to win game of the year because it would be the digital game of the year, you know, like that sort of thing. Right. So like even that, like with a lot of outlets, I think that they're a bad way to gauge it because they try to segment what games mean in the same way that like a lot of like, you know, gamer bros do, where it's like, you're not a gamer, you only play Angry Birds.
Right.
It's like, you're playing a game, dude. It's a game. You're a gamer.
Yep, it's crazy. But yeah, so that's Animal Crossing. That's that video that we made, and I'll say I had a very good time making this video, except for the editing part because my computer didn't like the footage that I was using and it took forever to do it. But as far as like writing it and stuff, I don't know. Yeah, it was just fun to think about this as far as like, you know, the whole New Game Plus ideas and all that stuff, which I still think that would be cool because like it is a shame that you can't start a new island without, and I feel that way about Breath of the Wild, honestly. Like I'd love to be able to start a new Breath of the Wild save on the same profile without deleting my old one. Even that's not master mode.
See, the problem with Breath of the Wild for me is like I keep doing that. Well, not on
right,
not the master mode and stuff like that. I start the game and then I play through it and I'm like, man, this part is so cool. And then I start to see the seams again and I'm like, I don't care anymore. Like,
yeah. No, I get that for sure. I mean, I don't know. In any case, there's that. But now we're on to hashtag our favorite part of the show, Q&A, where we answer questions that you YouTube community.
What? I mean, well, I guess, yeah. you said we answer questions that you A, and I was like, wait, what? We do the A.
Short for ask.
Also ask, but yeah.
That's the one you got it. Look at it. The Pagonian asks, favorite Nintendo character based off of story? Oh, man. Here's a little secret I'm going to give to you. I don't care about story in games very much ever.
But I don't even know, like.
I'm dying. Go on. Yes.
Who? What? Favorite Nintendo character based.
So okay, I'll go based more off of favorite Nintendo character based off of like their character, you know, like their personality, character kind of thing. Because like, Link doesn't have much personality.
Yeah,
you know, like I love Zelda games, but yeah, Link is fairly, you know, bland in that sense. Maybe Luigi. I'd say, yeah. Maybe I'd say Rex. I quite enjoyed his personality in Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
I don't even remember his personality, dude. He's this generic anime boy in my head. Like,
yeah, but like, I don't know. I feel like Shulk to me was more generic anime boy than Rex was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you know, like I enjoyed this story of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I don't think it was like breathtaking or whatever, but it was
16 hours in.
It was
that's
fun.
Just a tutorial.
Only 16, you loser.
I didn't even fully get through the tutorial, apparently.
I will say Claude is quite fun. He's not a playable character, but
he's sketch, dude. He's sketchy.
Yeah, he's great.
He's sketchy AF.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a really hard question to answer. The Beguiling, I'm curious. What's yours? But AJ, do you have an answer?
Luigi.
There you go.
He's the only character that I can think of, story-wise or whatever, like that has a personality in a game that I would play. You know, long enough to care.
Yep.
Because like the heavy story-based games and stuff, a lot of times their gameplay sucks. So I'm like, I'm not going to finish that. Are you crazy?
I mean, I don't even know. Nintendo-wise, I'm trying to think like how many heavy story-based games are there? Because like, yeah, like when you say that, you know,
if we're talking about like EPD and stuff like that, right? But they have like studios that they bought after the fact, and even stuff like Metroid Prime, right? Like the story in that is not as like active where everybody's talking and stuff. You know, like a lot of it's through text and.
I mean, even then though, I would say like Hollow Knight has a lot of story in it, but it's more lore. It's kind of like the Pokemon thing.
Yeah, well, right.
Except for it doesn't bother trying to do story. It just does lore and leans into that, and it does it very, very well.
That's where there's a lot of like, that's what Nintendo stories seem to be across the board. Where it's like, there's a lot of lore. Not that much going on in terms of story though.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, maybe just by default, I'll say Rex because he's the one that kind of fits into that mold a little bit better, but
Bayonetta.
Reed Alexander asks, my question is for AJ. What is your favorite game to play online from Nintendo Switch, and how do I set up a match with you?
Favorite game to play? Smash Brothers. But that's a layered answer because I wouldn't necessarily say I love playing it the most online. You know, playing online specifically is like, well, I got to do what I got to do. Setting up matches, just hit me up in the Discord, dude.
Yep.
Like,
there it is.
It's just that simple. And if I got time, I'm down.
And there it is. Or, I mean, maybe while you're on stream at some point. Yeah, that's pretty easy.
Twitch.tv/fanatixfour. Yeah. And, like, if I'm specifically streaming Smash Bros., like, don't freaking come in the chat. I'm streaming freaking Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity. You're like, yo, play me in Smash. Because it's probably not going to happen. But, like, when I'm playing Smash, yeah.
Cool asks a couple of questions, looks like. So here we go. Would you guys upload a video on who you're voting for the Game Awards, if you're voting at all, / speculations on who's most likely to win and when the nominees are out?
I mean, technically, we do that
I think we'll end up,
it'll be a podcast thing. Like, won't be a Fanatix4 video.
If we do Fanatix4 Game Awards thing, it would most likely be what we expect to see announcement-wise there. I know we did that last year, and I'm pretty sure it was all wrong because last year's was kind of a weird one.
Yeah. But who cares? Who cares if it's wrong?
Yeah.
It's only neat if it's right, you know?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Like if it's wrong, it's like whatever. We already expected that, but it's cool if it's like, oh, shoot, we were right about that. That's wild.
But yeah, we'll talk about that for sure. I mean, and we'll talk about, as we get closer to the end of the year and it's more topical, we'll talk about our Game of the Year games and all that kind of stuff. Because even though we've talked about Animal Crossing being the game of the year,
right.
I still
Doesn't
wouldn't
mean that
necessarily
it was, like,
say
our
it's
favorite
mine.
game. Yeah,
Yeah.
like just the game that was the most impactful for the year overall.
Yeah. Continuing on, asks, also on the video that AJ made for an Avatar game, what if they made like a 2.5D fighting game similar in style to Dragon Ball Fighter Z Fighters that combines the Last Airbender and Korra characters? I'm a big fan of fighting games, and I feel like something like this has huge potential to be one of the best.
Yo, I'd be down. That'd be sick. I think I would like an adventure sort of game for that series specifically better, because I just like the idea of it being like, you're the Avatar and you're like, you grew up in this thing, you gotta learn how to bend and do all that stuff. But I think that it also is like a IP that's well positioned for a fighting game too. That'd be neat.
Yep. I mean, it would also be cool, I don't know, to use are there a lot of fighting games that have elemental stuff or like types and stuff like that in the same way? You know, like,
you mean like
this is super effective? Yeah, exactly. That kind of thing.
I mean, not
probably
really,
not for balancing reasons, but it would be neat if you could pick like, you know, everybody for some reason has access to all of the different, you know, airbending, waterbending,
like
whatever
through assists.
Yeah, right, exactly. And you could come in,
just make sure you have assists that balance it out.
You get to pick,
maybe it'll be a thing where it's like there's weaknesses and stuff like that, and like you're freaking firebender and you're fighting a waterbender, but to fend off the waterbender, you have a earthbender on your team that blocks the water from the fire. You know, like that sort of thing.
Yep, those kinds of things. That would be neat. That'd be fun. I'm still down with the adventure game as well.
Yeah, like if we're ranking like how much I want what, it would be the adventure game, then the fighting game. But the fighting game, I would be down. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Also, there was speculation about Fortnite in Smash. How do you feel about that? I wouldn't mind if the character's cool. I just think if it ever makes it in, it'll be a me gunner. I think that's all. LOL.
Yeah, same. I agree. I think that would be annoying. He could, I mean, if they did do a Fortnite character, he could be good Steve. Like he would just be Steve that doesn't suck.
Right. Yeah. Right.
It's crazy. I freaking hate the Smash Brothers like like content machine, because it's like so many of the like top players / content creators and stuff, they'll gas up a character just because they know that there's hype around it. So they'll be like, this character is insane, look at these combos that I can do on Donkey Kong in training mode with no DI, you know, like this character's crazy. so they'll have all these people that just listen to top players and don't understand the game and can't like dissect what works and what doesn't work on their own. And then, like, they'll be all convinced. So like whenever I'm like, Steve sucks, they're like, well, Esam said. I'm like, I don't give a crap what Esam said. I'm looking at the tools of the character. I'm playing the game. I'm playing against the character. I still never lost a single match against this piece of crap character. He's bad. It's not that hard to understand.
Yeah.
So with that being said, Fortnite Jonesy or whatever the heck his name is will probably be better because he has projectiles, and projectiles are stupid in this game.
I would say, I mean, I would, you know, I mean, they can put whoever they want to at this point.
They put freaking Fortnite Jonesy.
I would be a little bit, same, just because it feels like that's the, like, Steve, Minecraft has been around for 10 years now, and it's been a cultural icon and stuff. Fortnite is definitely a cultural icon right now, and it, you know, it will be in the future as well, but like somehow it just, I don't know, it would feel more like a gimmick character that Nintendo doesn't, like, I'm fine with the gimmick character that Nintendo owns, but a gimmick character that Nintendo like doesn't own.
It would feel like
cash grab is a much better term.
Yeah. And it's like,
which I'm just like, all right, that's fine. But as a Mii fighter, yeah, for sure, do it.
100%. If they do a Mii fighter, I'm not going to buy it. But I think
and lots of people will be happy, so that's great, you know. Go Fish Goldfish says, yo, since Kirby Fighter came out, I have been thinking about what other franchises would look like in that format. What if there was a game where it was all Pokemon trainers, like in Smash, and you got to pick your team of 3?
Yes.
Maybe have some Pokemon Home integration as a way to unlock different Pokemon. What would you want to see in a game like this?
Yes. If there was just like a full freaking fighting game of like Smash Brothers Pokemon trainers, I'd be down for that. That'd be sick. Yo,
it's called Pokken Tournament.
No, it's not. Pokken Tournament's not like that at all.
It's not. No, I mean, yeah, because the point with this is Kirby Fighters is just like you take Kirby out of Smash and then you just add a bunch of different garbage to him to make him different kinds of Kirbys. Yeah, and there you go. So yeah, similarly, Pokemon Trainer fighting as
like the copy abilities and stuff. Like
yeah. The harder thing I think with this, with a Pokemon, well, no, I mean, it would be like, no, never mind. Because all the Kirbys still, like, their hitboxes are probably all the same to each other, but their like weight and everything else about them is all redistributed and changed up anyway. So they still have to do work.
Like the Pokemon, like it would be. So I talk about the time. So you know what Dittos are, right?
Yeah.
Ditto is pretty odd. So the Pokemon Trainer Ditto is my favorite Ditto in the entire game because it's the most true test of who's best with each individual Pokemon. Whereas like
as in two people are playing Pokemon Trainer with all the
with all three Pokemon and stuff. Yeah, exactly. Because then you're able to be like, oh, he's on Squirtle. I know Squirtle struggles with this, so I'm going to go to this Pokemon and you blah blah. You know, like it tests your knowledge of the character. Whereas with regular Dittos, it's just both people fishing for their best option. So it's like if I'm freaking Wolf. Or Wolf's a worse example. Let me see. If I'm Mario, I'm just fishing for my forward smash the whole time, you know, like that sort of crap. Yeah. Whereas with Pokemon Trainer, it's like I might be fishing for 18 different moves with all three, all three Pokemon combined, where it's like, okay, he's on Charizard, so let me try to cheese him with Ivysaur when he's trying to up B. Oh crap, he's not Charizard anymore. He's Squirtle. Let me go to Squirtle. Oh man, he's better than me with Squirtle. Let me go to Ivy. You know, that whole thing. It's like you got to make so many decisions. And that would just be the entire game of that, but with more Pokemon, you know, like even looking at like the different starters and stuff, even if they just limit it to that, where it's like all the Pokemon trainers are Pokemon trainers from different regions with those starters and stuff like that, those Pokemon differ a lot in terms of like their abilities and stuff, like how they move and like how they're, you know, what type of fighter they would be, you know, like Rillaboom.
I mean,
nothing like
Incineroar obviously is super different
than
from
Charizard.
The other, exactly.
Right. So it's just that, you know, like that would be freaking sick. Yes, please. It could literally just be Smash Brothers Pokemon Trainer, but with all different regions and like change it up so that there's enough diversity in terms of like, don't make it so that every Pokemon trainer has the first evolution be the water starter, the second evolution be, you know, change it up in that regard, and then just give the movesets that make sense, you know, like don't give Trico Razor Leaf, give him Bullet Seed, you know, like and that sort of, and his Bullet Seed works differently than Ivysaur's, which shoot straight up. His would be like Razor Leaf and shoot forward or whatever, you know, be sick, dude.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'm down. Continues to say, now that it's November, are there any games that you're hoping to pick up with the Black Friday sales, either eShop or physical? And then continues, are there any games that were released before 2020 that you still want to get? Thanks as always. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Man, I never know. Right now, I've got so many games in my backlog that I'm just starting to try to work through. And like I mentioned with, I'm playing, what's it called? Monster Boy and stuff. So it would have to be pretty specific for me to actually want to get it. Otherwise, probably I'll just ask for stuff for Christmas because like people are going to want to get me Christmas gifts because they love me so much. No, they're going to want me to say something. And I don't have that many other ideas for Christmas gifts all the time. So I don't know. As far as like, I still like Dragon Quest 11S is still a game that I would like to have eventually. But I just know right now I don't have the time to play it. So at some point, if it goes on really good sale, maybe I'll get it or ask for Christmas. I don't know. So. But there are a lot of other games that I would like. I just don't have time. That's my biggest problem.
No, I don't. Like, I just don't approach games like that. Like if I'm gonna get, like the thing for me, I'm gonna buy freaking games for my other consoles. You know, like I'm getting the freaking Series X on Tuesday. It comes out around.
That's crazy. That's so soon.
I know. Yeah. I don't care. You know, like I'm like 0% excited for it. I just got it because out of like fear that maybe I'll want it, you know. So I wanted to pre-order at least one of them. So that's happening. I might take advantage of Black Friday deals for that, but for Nintendo games, it's just, I usually just pull the trigger on those because, like, worst case scenario, it's like I can stream it and it's a business expense, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really get that much stuff on Black Friday anyway, and usually when I do, it's stuff like a micro SD card or something like that.
Same. That's the type of stuff I'm looking
Yeah.
for. Like I might buy a freaking TV, you know.
I need a whole bunch of new drumsticks. I got a whole bunch at some
Did they
point.
go on sale for Black Friday?
I have no clue. I've never tried to buy them at Black Friday, but it so happens to line up right now. So I think I might just see if that happens.
So.
Also,
like
though,
Guitar Center probably freaking
a Guitar Center or like Sweetwater or whatever. Also, there's like different plugins
Sweetwater,
and stuff.
So I freaking bought I bought an adapter for so I had the old crappy mic mount thing for my other mic. I bought an adapter so that I can use that mount for my camera instead of buying an Elgato multi-mount or whatever.
Gotcha.
Which I'm probably going to do eventually or whatever. I bought it from Sweetwater, and they sent me candy, and I was like,
they always send candy.
Like,
it's great.
I was like, they said
it's like old man candy, but because it's always.
But I spent like 94 cents. They sent me like more candies, like more money worth of candy than I spent on the thing. I was like, all right.
Sweetwater's great.
They 100% old people candy.
Though. Oh yeah, it's like always
Smarties,
which I do like. Side note, if you're in the UK or Europe, Smarties are different there than they are here. Everywhere not America, Smarties are basically, it's more like M&Ms. They're a little bit bigger, and I think they've kind of got a fruitier taste. But then here Smarties,
like Skittles. Are they Skittles?
No, I mean it's like I think, and I could be wrong about this, but you know how like people are like, oh, I like the blue M&Ms because they taste a little bit bluer or whatever, which is like, which is wrong and dumb. Except for one person. So one time someone was like, yeah, I don't really eat the red or the yellow or the orange M&Ms, and I was like, that's dumb. They don't taste any different. And they're like, no, I'm allergic to the food coloring in the red, yellow, and orange. So I'm like, oh, actually, okay, if you're gonna die from some food coloring, then I'll allow that. But I think if I remember right, somebody told me that like with the different color of Smarties, the European ones, which again, they're like M&Ms, a little bit bigger, but the blue ones actually like have a little bit of flavoring or something like that that's a bit different. I don't know. I'm going to look it up though right now. Different colored Smarties.
Those Smarties are stupid.
In Europe. I don't know how I'm going to look this up. I don't feel
European Smarties.
That's the ones. Look at those candies.
Wait. Oh, you're not sharing your screen.
Colors. No, I'm not. I'm looking it up on my other computer.
Rip, dude.
I don't know. Whatever. Maybe I could be totally wrong about that. Somebody told me that, but I haven't eaten them in so long since I was a kid. So, yeah, it's probably wrong. Nevertheless, whatever.
Nice, but
they send old people candy, and it's great.
Some type of freaking caramel crap. That was
Tootsie Rolls, Laffy Taffies, peppermints.
Yeah.
I think that's usually what they send, but it's good. Sweetwater's nice too because they usually
they freaking called me. I was like, "What the?
Here's your Sweetwater." So now whoever that person was, Andy. Mine is Bob Mondock. If you're in the Nashville region, probably yours is Bob Mondock too. I think they have like, regional places or whatever, but that's going to be like your person. Anytime you use Sweetwater again, it's that person. And it's fun. Like they do a good job at that. The only thing that sucks is they used to be tax-free in Tennessee, at least, and probably a bunch of other states because it was interstate trade or whatever. And like if you sell something if I sell something from a state into a state where I don't have any kind of business or whatever, then there's no tax on it, that kind of thing or whatever. But they opened up a warehouse in Tennessee, so now suddenly there's taxes here, which is lame because like that was super nice when you buy like a $1,000 guitar and you don't
just like
have to pay taxes on it.
Yeah,
that's awesome. But now you have to pay the extra $100, which I'd love to have money to buy a new $1,000 guitar. That's not going to happen, but nevertheless. Continuing on with these questions.
Drumsticks with that $100, dude.
So many drumsticks.
So many drumsticks.
Unfortunately, not as many drumsticks as you'd like. They're kind of expensive. I mean, not like super expensive, but like, $15 for a pair of drumsticks.
Yeah, there's still multiple drumsticks. You can buy at least like six pairs.
Andrew Vask asks, if you could only play 3 games for the rest of your life, what would they be? So for you, if you could only play 2 games for the rest of your life, what would they be?
Smash Brothers, Pokemon Sword, I guess. And what would be a third game? I would say Splatoon, but Splatoon, like, I only have fun with Splatoon when I'm playing with 3 other people that don't suck. Like, Splatoon gets my, like, the reason why I like Pokemon and Smash Brothers is because I'm in control of my destiny, you know? Like, if I lose, it's because I suck, you know?
Yeah, right.
Like, I hate losing because everybody else on my team sucks. That doesn't feel great. So, I don't know. I don't know what the third game is.
Yeah.
Animal Crossing.
Man, I don't know. For me, I think it's hard to answer this. One time I think I answered this, and it was just like, if you could only play 1 game for the rest of your life, I think I said RuneScape. And I'd probably still
nerd stuff,
if I knew for sure, hey, you have to pick one, like these games, you can't play anything else, then I would pick something like that, where it's like, I don't love it, but it has the only reason I don't play like RuneScape variety. Or Civ 6 or anything like that is because I know that could be a game that would be the only game that I put a bunch of time in. And not that I love any of the individual bits about it, but there's always progression, you know, like, and that's the thing is with a lot of these other games, there's just a limit to your progression. So it would probably end up being some kind of sim games like that.
For me, it would definitely be a thing. I care more about like inner progression. Like,
right.
That I feel like I'm getting better, not because the game tells me I'm doing better.
Yep.
That sort of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's dumb. Like I still like playing like Yahtzee or whatever in Clubhouse games against the computer. And it's like, this is totally random, but it's a little bit of a challenge every time. Cause like, you still got to be kind of critically thinking about what decisions you want to make and all that. But there's still a large amount of randomness as opposed to other games where you just constantly get better to the point where it's like, whatever. Or, you know what? Opposite angle, I would just become a speedrunner of Mario Odyssey or something, where like, or Breath of the Wild or whatever, where like I just play the game over and over and over.
That'd be sick. Like you forget that, Breath of the Wild I was about to say Mario Odyssey would probably be cooler, but now I think about it, Breath of the Wild has some cool stuff too, because like the time skips and like the using the runes and whatnot.
There's some crazy stuff that people have figured out in Breath of the Wild as far as like, it's just insane. Continuing on, questions from Twitter now. Falcon asks, I want to talk about having Max Wright on the podcast. I don't really have any questions. Hope you boys are doing all right.
Hey, man, that's all his fault, dude.
Oh, Max commented and was like, yeah, man, they've said a lot of times it's up to me.
No,
so.
I'm upset about that. He said you specifically told him that it was. I've been screaming it from the rooftops about literally anybody that comes on this show. If you were to come on this show, even if you haven't been on this show, if you're a friend and you make content and stuff like that, freaking hit me up and say, yo, I want to be on directly to you this week. You guys, what are you guys doing? We're good most times for guests. Just hit me up. Because it's easier for you to ask me than it is for me to ask individually everybody, yo, are you free to do direct?
Yeah, right.
And Bob, like, just hit me up.
That's true.
Bob does it.
And then Max himself asked, what's the game that would convince you guys to get a next-gen console, exclusive or non-Nintendo third-party?
I mean, I already...
you already going.
I already pre-ordered Xbox. But I mean, as far as like the PlayStation, what's going to convince me to do that? I mean, I would have got a PlayStation if Spider-Man Miles Morales, if I couldn't play that on my PlayStation 4, but since I can, why not?
Yeah, right.
And the reason why, because I was gonna, like I said, I wanted to get at least one of them, but the deciding factor for why I got the Xbox Series X first was because I know in the long run, I'm going to buy most of my third-party games on that. There's Games Pass, so I don't have to spend a lot of money up front. Like I have the console, I pay $15 a month. I can play whatever games I want whenever I want on the thing, and when I don't want to play it, whatever, it's not a huge loss. Whereas with the PlayStation, bare minimum, I got to spend $400 on the thing, which I'm not going to get the digital version because I want to have the option to be like, oh, there's $20 off at Amazon physically or whatever, right? But then I got to spend the $70 on the game. So like, even if I get the cheaper thing, it's still putting me in the margin of the Xbox, like the full physical version anyway.
Right.
So for me, the thing that's going to make me buy the PlayStation is when Ratchet and Clank comes out, because that's the first game that they announced that I care about that's exclusive on the PlayStation 5.
Yeah. I think for me, it won't have to be one specific game because it'll be stuff that's on Game Pass anyway. So maybe it'll be the straw that broke the camel's back at some point. Right. But any one of the three, depending on which comes out first, and then also looks like I want it to look like or whatever. Not in terms of game, not in terms of like graphics or whatever, but like, just in terms of like the kind of game,
the gameplay.
Yeah, right, exactly. Everwild's, Avowed, and or Fable. Those ones are the ones that I'm most interested in. I mean, they're all like, fantasy, blah, blah, blah stuff. And like, that's the kind of thing that I like. So, because I don't, that's not to say the PlayStation doesn't have some of those where like, obviously Ghost of Tsushima kind of like it's not, but it like borderline fits in that. And there's some other games that definitely do that. Like, Final Fantasy is obviously fantasy in a different kind of way. But in terms of like, I don't know, just something like that. And also it's just like, I'm going to get Games Pass instead of individual games through the PS5. So at some point I'll get an Xbox something, but probably one of those three games will be the one that'll be like, all right, now's the time, or a really good deal sometime before that. Whatever comes first. But there it is. And, or some amount of just money windfall that just happens. And then I just randomly have lots of money. I don't anticipate that happening, but if it does, and I'll probably get that.
Subscribe.
Kate Michelle asks, now that we've seen the face of the mystery fortune teller in Age of Calamity, who do you guys think this is? Vati, Girahim, someone else, or maybe a whole new character altogether?
Are you still watching trailers for this game? Because I'm not.
I didn't watch.
I saw this trailer. Or I saw that the trailer was posted, and I think it was the trailer before this, and I was like, I'm going to play the game. I don't need to see a trailer. So I saw that the villain has been revealed or whatever. Right?
I think I saw a screenshot of the face, but I didn't watch this actual trailer. So yeah, did they say in this that this is the fortune teller? Is that confirmed, or is that something that we're assuming? Because regardless, I think that it is probably the fortune teller that we know exists. But yeah, I don't know. I think it might just be a new character. I don't think
I would think. Well, then again, I don't know.
Yeah,
because like it could be like a freaking like Rogue One situation where it's like there's new characters in this old story that we didn't know about before, but now we do. And the reason why we didn't know then is because they all died. Like it could be that.
Yeah,
but I feel like even with that, like a villain, like a big bad would be referenced, right? Like if it was like that sort of thing. So I think that it's probably going to be like somebody that we do know or somebody that we don't know. That doesn't really matter.
Here's what I think is that this will maybe set up things. This character will be referenced in Breath of the Wild 2. And like people pointed out that like the dead figure in the sequel trailer, which we're all fairly confident is Ganondorf, that like, oh, that kind of looks similar to this character in some regards. And I don't think they're the same character, but they're probably related because they have similar jewelry and some similar things. But the other one's definitely Ganondorf. But this one, like, I don't know. They're also and like also the Ganondorf guy has been dead for like thousands of years. You can tell by the way his body is something. But like also there's time travel now. So like, who's to say somebody didn't send a body back 10,000 years for it to be something and whatever. So I don't know. It's interesting stuff. I'm leaning towards new character, but a new character that'll tie into the sequel and then, that kind of thing. That's my guess.
I'm trying to find the trailer.
In the meantime, I'm going to go to the next question. The Devilman's Crybaby asked, do you guys have any tattoos? If so, what is it? If not, what would you get?
I do not. And it's mostly because I have no idea.
That's a very good reason to not get anything. I have 3 tattoos. They're not super big. The first one I got is right here. You can't see very well. It's a little one on my chest. It's a Trinity. I got it when I was 16. I asked my parents for my 16th birthday. I was like, I want either a tattoo or ear gauges. And I was like, definitely they're going to say ear gauges or neither. They're not going to let me get a tattoo.
I thought it was
and they were like,
I thought it was going to be, I want freaking a tattoo or a rabbit.
No, sure wasn't that. Oh man. So yeah, I said tattoo or ear gauges. And my mom was like, you're not getting ear gauges because if there's too big of a chance that like you'll pass the point of, like I think because she'd seen some people where like they had reasonable size ones and then they were like, oh, I'll stretch it a little bit. And they get to the point where they're like,
and it's like the freaking
so big that it can't go back or whatever.
The lip jewelry.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So she was like, not that, but yeah, they were like, yeah, you can get the tattoo. So I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, so I have a Trinity there. And then also I've got this on my arm, which is, it's blank sheet music. Pretty much it's 4 bars. It's got a treble clef, but the treble clef is around the B instead of the G, not for any reasons other than aesthetically it looked better that way. But somebody at some point looked at it and was like, it's around the B instead of the G. And I'm like, shut up, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. So, but the idea with this was, it was like the iPhones had been out, but I didn't have an iPhone. And it was like, oh, I can keep a pen with me and use it. And if I have any ideas, I can just jot them down because I didn't have a voice memo app or whatever. This is like 2011
it's a practical
or something. And I've used it maybe like 10 times legitimately. But then I got an iPhone and I have a voice memo app and like, I'll show you guys how many voice memos I have on this thing. And this only goes back as far, so this is just like song ideas and stuff. And this only goes back as far as like, I don't know, not very 2019. So there's, yeah. Nice. Long story short, the tattoo would have been super inefficient for that. And the last one is I got a little heart here. It's kind of Zelda looking heart, but my wife and I both have this. And it's sort of Scott Pilgrim related was what we were saying because we both love Scott Pilgrim, but also we just both have a heart because we love each other very much.
Nice, dude. Nice.
There it is.
Yeah, no, I don't have any tattoos.
You should also get a heart like me and my wife, and then we're all connected and friends. That's something.
That's true.
Did you find what you were looking for? The trailer?
No, I gave up.
Last one from Twitter. Lachlan Everett says, what can Nintendo do to make Kirby and Yoshi more appealing to hardcore Nintendo fans?
Make it grander because like the Kirby games and Yoshi games decisively feel and look like and are marketed as smaller things than like a Mario game, like they're very much so like AA, if even that, games. Not so much AAA games. I don't even necessarily think they need to shift in genre. Like it doesn't even have to be like a 3D Kirby game or whatever. It just needs to be or Yoshi or whatever. It just needs to be a game that is more fully featured and it has more of a point than just like get the thing, like freaking jump through the world, Yeah. I think that's the whole of it. But for Kirby specifically, I think they do need to go 3D for Kirby.
Yeah. I was just thinking about this too, because I've thought about this in the past and I was like, in 3D, I feel like Kirby just feels slow in general, I think. And especially flying wise, it's like, yeah, you can fly upwards, but it's really slow and floaty and stuff like that. But it would be so easy
like, visually, like it would be easy to limit how high he can fly. To like funnel you in and
just have some clouds or something like that,
and not even necessarily that, just make it so that he can't fly that high,
right? Yeah, exactly.
Like, by the time, like it could very much so be a thing of like he's like balloon like, and like the amount of time it takes you to fly up a certain amount, enough air is like expelled from your body to not make it possible for you to go beyond that
right point, So but the other thought I had too is like, yeah, so then, thinking about, stick Kirby in a Breath of the Wild world, obviously that's two different things, but like, stick Kirby in whatever, and like flying and trying to get to a different point in space would feel boring and tedious. But that's not to say that like pretty early on, you couldn't get equivalent to the paraglider in Breath of the Wild, but instead it would be absorbability or something like that, where you can like glide down and stuff. You can like fly up really high and then glide down fast to other places and start to open it up a whole lot. And that wouldn't necessarily need to feel like traditional Kirby because it's just a new ability that you have.
Right.
And like that'd be cool.
And it doesn't even have to be like that big, you know.
Right. Yeah. No, exactly.
Mario Odyssey, Mario 64 sort of deal.
Yeah.
But just enough with the same thing that we've been doing for the past freaking 25 years or whatever, right? Like, especially with a game like Kirby or a franchise like Kirby, where like there's a lot of offshoots where they try a lot of weird stuff. Like, why not try the obvious progression from a 2D platformer before you try freaking pinball again, you know? Like,
yeah, I fully agree. I think that's definitely a thing. It feeling not very grand and feeling like it levels take a while, but they're easy is like just not a lot of fun. But yeah. Continuing on, what's the future for Donkey Kong? Because currently it's just a 2D platformer, a great one, but isn't that Mario's job? And what? Oh, and and then there's another question, but that's the end of that
one. I think that it's fine for them to have multiple 2D platformers. I think that Mario and Donkey Kong control differently enough where they're like decisively different, and they fit in different parts of the market. Like Donkey Kong, especially as of late, has been like their freaking like hardcore platformer of like, if you're bad at platformers, you're not gonna like this game, Bob. No, but yeah, like it's very much so harder than regular Mario games. So like they could still keep it a 2D platformer, but like can also try 3D again. But I feel like 3D for Donkey Kong is like the well is poisoned on that. Like they tried it and like it didn't age that great. So maybe not. I mean, blessing. From Kind of Funny now. He likes that game, but I think he's dumb.
No. I mean, there's a lot of people that still have a lot of nostalgia for it. And like,
and I think they're dumb too.
I think it's one of those things that like, if you go back and revisit it, then you're like, oh yeah, that's not that great.
No, but because he did revisit it. That was like a whole thing that they did, but he's dumb. I'm not. If you go back, Blessing specifically, he's dumb. But everybody else, whatever, dude. Nostalgia,
So, but yeah, that thing. I think there's enough people that remember liking it a lot, but haven't played it in a while, that if they make a new 3D Donkey Kong, they'll be like, oh yeah, and I loved the first one. And that's it. You know, like there's people that watch the like, the retrospective videos that show like this was actually a good game anyway.
They'll be fine to do that, but I just think that Nintendo's the type of company where it's like, we tried that once, we're not going back there. And I mean, there's like Virtual Boy, they went back to 3D.
I mean, but I feel like all it would really take is some internal team deciding they want to make a demo for it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then just doing it, and then Nintendo, somebody would play
if
it
it's
and be
good,
like,
they're
right,
like, fine. Cool. But I couldn't see it being a thing that they're like, we need a 3D Donkey Kong game. Freaking EPD Group 4, get to working. Like,
no, I agree. So, but that said, I mean, I think there's got to be a future for Donkey Kong in general. I wouldn't be surprised if they rounded out this second trilogy of Donkey Kong Country games. And so we got one more 2D platformer one, kind of in this, Donkey Kong Returns.
Yeah. Like what if that was the other retro thing?
Yeah.
Or one of the other retro. Yeah. What the heck, man? Retro is so weird. Like there's super weird. No other studio that's like retro, because like even Sony, that like lets their core studios like stew on games forever, doesn't let their core studios stew on multiple canceled games forever, and then we'll go to the next thing. We're going to cancel this one too. Okay, we're going to move to the we're canceling this one. They don't do that, something's coming out,
and it's not like any of retro game. It's not like any of Retro's games sell that crazy. Great, exactly.
Like the only thing that
they review great,
Kong games sell fine. Metroid very much so no.
Yeah.
Like Prime games.
And that's it. They made the Prime games, the 2 Donkey Kong games, and
they're also like
and they helped a lot. Exactly.
They help studios develop their things. But and even that, like that doesn't even necessarily make them like super valuable to Nintendo, because EPD does that. Like that was like they had a whole thing within it was Nintendo SPD that helped develop pretty much every Nintendo first-party game, whether it be a retro or whatever. They helped them with all that stuff, but then they consolidated them into one thing, and now it's like, yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last bit of Lachlan's question is, what genre can Nintendo break into, e.g. Splatoon shooter?
Third
I feel like we talked about this recently.
Yes. Third-person action games, like the ones that Sony, like big, epic, like freaking story-driven games.
Yep. I mean, that's the thing. Earlier, we talked about how Nintendo doesn't have a ton of super story-heavy games, and like, I mean, like Paper Mario has a story, but it's a dialogue heavy game.
Yeah.
Like that's
and even
then
it's like even though like in gameplay it's not an RPG, it's structured like a game,
right?
Like an RPG.
Yeah.
And they have plenty of those. You know, like they have story driven RPGs, but they're like read the dialogue, but they're not like they don't feel as epic and like high production values and like all that stuff. I think that's really the only thing that they don't do. Because like they've broken into pretty much every other genre at one point or another in some way. And
I wouldn't be surprised if that's something that they would have Retro work on after Metroid Prime 4, you know?
But because I mean, that's the thing. It feels like that's what they want Retro to be,
right?
Is their Sony
Santa Monica, whatever,
for sure. And that's what it feels like Metroid Prime is shaping up to be. Is like their first at bat at a game like that, because they're hiring a whole bunch of people that freaking used to work at like Naughty Dog and like Activision Blizzard and like all these studios that make these huge games with like all these set pieces and stuff, and they're like, we're making a story that it's gonna freaking pull at your heartstrings and stuff. It's like it feels like that's what they're trying to do. I
can't wait for us to play that game and look back at this time when we didn't know about that game and like just see, you know, like I feel like
because like we didn't even have that with like Breath of the Wild. Like there was a pretty long lead up of like we knew what like Breath of the Wild of some like Breath of the Wild, Zelda Wii U was a thing since freaking 2011, and we didn't get it till 2017, obviously. And we're looking at a very similar like life to that. But we know way more, and I think a lot of that is owed to the fact that Retro is Western, so like we see more of like the job listings and stuff like that.
Right.
So that's what makes this way more interesting, because like we don't see the turbulent like people leaving and being joined in and stuff whenever it's a Nintendo EPD driven thing, right? But since this is home, you know, like we're here, we see every time that they're like, oh, there's a new job listing, they're hiring a new director, you know.
I mean, I think I've said it before, but I'm still gonna say it. I feel like we're gonna see Metroid Prime 4, like just a teaser trailer for it next year, maybe even as early as the Game Awards this year. I don't think, and I don't think in any way that's like, and it's coming kind of almost soon. I think it's still like it's forever away, but like you waited long enough. Here's just like our concept.
I don't know if they want to do that, because they did that already and it did not work. Like, because what if they? I mean, it
got hype up though for sure, and like
it's true. But then they got to freaking announce. Like, what if it gets delayed again, or not delayed? But what if it gets like
changed
freaking
again,
reworked again? And like we're not going to have this game for another 5 years or whatever.
Yeah,
so, like,
right.
I just feel like it's something that they're not, like Nintendo is not really the company that does that. You know, like there's they do it sometimes, like with Zelda and only Zelda, and that's literally it. Where it's like we're gonna announce this game and re-announce it 4 more times before it actually comes.
Honestly,
out.
But that's what I think they're trying to think of this game as Zelda. So that's the only reason why I think they might do it. But I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I could be off and like
it'd be cool, but I don't know.
Now moving to the Discord, we got lots of questions. Alex Farrellow 8 asks, I know this is kind of a stupid question, but how do you feel about Mario 3D All-Stars?
I think it's dope. I think it showed the most people that game development is hard, and it gets better as time goes on, because that's how the games work in that collection. So
I think it's fun to have all the games accessible. There's things that I like. I would still love to see, Mario 64 remake someday. And this means that it's going to be even further before they do that or whatever.
Yeah,
but aside from what I want,
wish it was the best case scenario when we were talking about like the rumors.
Yes, exactly.
Because like we were talking about like what they would potentially do, and the most likely thing that we talked about was like that they're just not going to do anything, and just release it all as one thing or whatever. And then it was like, but what if they remake 64 and Sunshine? Galaxy didn't really need a remake. I want them to do that.
Yeah,
I want
right.
them to remake 64 and Sunshine.
Yeah, but outside of outside of my dream scenarios, like this is still great. It works.
It's
I'm
fine.
down with it.
I don't really have any gripes with it. I think that our dream scenario. See, the thing about it is like a lot of people look at like Crash Insane trilogy and stuff like that. But our dream scenario, even within our dream, we weren't like, I hope that they remake all 3 games and they package them for $60.
Yeah, right.
Very much so like these are going to be all $60, if not, a few of them, like maybe 64 being a solo thing, and then they do Sunshine and Galaxy together, or Galaxy 1 and 2 together, like we're very much so expecting to spend more money.
I was thinking 64 and Sunshine together. Right. Galaxy 1 and Galaxy 2 together was my best guess. But we didn't get that. We got all 3 of these other ones. And
and
Galaxy 2 still doesn't make sense. But
Galaxy 2 just never happened.
Yeah. What a thing as that. Cowboy asks, I'd love more explanation on how y'all would incorporate the wild area experience into Diamond and Pearl remakes if you were in charge of its development.
All right, this is a video. I'm gonna make this video. Somebody somebody commented on the video where it's like, well, multiple people did, where they were for both of the videos that I was like, could you not see ideas? I'm like, I'm thinking about this. Let me know what you think. And then people were like, I wanted the Diamond and Pearl video, and also I want the like Studios video, which is probably going to be next week's video. But who knows? It depends on if I start on it. If I start on it like tomorrow, then it's going to be next week's video. But those videos balloon fast, where it's like looking at the entire year and the fact that Nintendo, like on average, releases like 30 games a year, like trying to compartmentalize and say, okay, which one do I want to talk about here and why, and that whole thing. But anyway, I'm gonna make a video about the remakes specifically, probably around when they start to tease what their next game announcement is, or when they announce the remakes or whatever. I'll do the whole video of like, this is what I wanted to be.
So since I'm not, I'll be involved in that video because that's how we're doing things now. But since it's not my idea, I think I would say at minimum, just make the areas that normally have tall grass, just have those be like they are in Sword and Shield now, where the Pokemon are just wandering around in the tall grass in real life and you just see them and like that. So that's good. And then the other thing, make the whole thing be like Crown Tundra and Isle of Armor, where there's a controllable camera the whole way through. And it's not just like, fixed perspective like it is for the story parts of Sword and Shield. And then maybe in the same way of having like the Sevi Islands or something like that, have a new separate area that's something different. That's more wild area-ish. But those would be my very top level ideas. Having only played Diamond and Pearl once and a long time ago at that. So there it is. Yeah. But I'm curious what your ideas are going to be when they happen.
We shall see.
Duncan asked, y'all doing okay? Been a hell of a month and it's only the 6th.
That's true.
Yeah, man. Oh, yeah. And I mentioned on Twitter that I'm going to be not on Twitter as much. Pretty much that just is like, I'll still like check notifications and check messages and stuff every once in a while. But I literally just realized
doom scrolling.
Yeah, that. And even like, I just realized I open my Twitter app instinctively for no reason all the time. Yeah. And like, I just don't like doing that anymore. And it's become like a sort of FOMO thing where like, I'll just scroll through my feed and get to a point where I'm like, oh, I've seen this one before. And then I'll open it back up 2 minutes later. And I'm like, I hate this. I don't like this at all. I like interacting with the people that I interact with. And that's a lot of fun, but the just like mental part of Twitter, not so much. So it's actually been really helpful. Just the past 3 days to not have been doing that as much has been very freeing. So
I'm
Good job, everybody.
so bad at that. I need to get to the point where it feels freeing, but there'll be days where I just can't be on Twitter because I can't be on Twitter. Like when I did the Twitch thing, and I just feel like so out of everything.
Yeah,
I don't know what the hell's happening, where, and why. But Twitter's freaking like I love Twitter, but at the same time, Twitter sucks.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like. Oof.
Yeah, but no, we were talking. I mean, the bigger picture part of all this, AJ and I were talking prior to the stream and stuff, and yeah, it's going to be an interesting next 2 months until we find out what like officially happens. So it's been a really interesting time. Yep. There we go. Dirt Marcos asked, I recently bought a huge Waylord plushie from the Pokemon Center online. That's awesome.
Sick.
And wonder if you could get a plushie of any character in what game or in a game, what or who would you want? Personally, a bigger Waylord for me.
Yo, freaking Charizard. I had a Charizard that I got from like freaking Six Flags or something like that. And then there was like this freaking giant Entei.
Nice.
And cool. I wanted that, but it was $250, and it was like either that or like a GameCube or something. GameCube. But that's also sick. But no, Charizard, like a life-size Charizard, yo, I want it. Give it to me. It'd probably be like $1,000 because it's Charizard, and it would be like 5'7".
Yeah,
or 4'7" or whatever. No, I think he's 5'7".
It's 5'7". Yeah,
he's 5'7". So yeah, freaking Charizard.
That's I wouldn't like interacting with a real life Charizard because he wouldn't be as tall as I want him to be.
Yeah, he's too small. Like
that's just not right.
But then again, like. So it's like it's like an average. Like it's very clear that like the Pokemon heights and stuff are averages because like when you go to like freaking Pacific Valley or whatever, and Charizard, like Ash's Charizard is like all small, and there's like these other Charizards that are like 2 of Ash's Charizard. Like so that gives me
it says Charizards are usually 5'7", but Ash's Charizard is taller than that at about 7 feet tall. At which point
Ash's Charizard is a small boy. So it's like, 5'7", I feel like is an average. Like it's very much so like some Charizards are only 4 feet, and the other Charizards are like
and it says, feet. Ash's Charizard is rather small when compared to the Charizard living in Charific Valley, and all that. So I don't know. In that case, where on Earth is 5'7" coming from? I mean, the Pokedex.
It's an average. I'm telling you.
I know, but like, if the ones that we're seeing are Ash's, which is 7 feet, and the Charific Valley, those are all bigger. Then, like, that seems weird that the average
There's just a super small one.
Yeah,
like,
right.
There's just some Charizards that are like 2.5 feet. Like,
that's it. If Charizard in real life was 7 feet, I'd be very happy with that. If it's 5'7", I couldn't. I just wouldn't be happy. As far as a real life plush for me, I don't know where I'd put anything. Maybe Snorlax. Not because it's my favorite, but just because it would be the most fitting plush to just be sitting around. Whereas like if I had a Squirtle or a Blastoise or whatever, I feel weird just having it sitting around because it just wouldn't feel like it fit that character and I wouldn't have a specific place for it. But Snorlax totally makes sense. Just like a Snorlax beanbag chair. Is that a thing?
No, but yes. The Psyduck is sick. Like the Psyduck, I feel like is a good plush for that reason because like I could see Psyduck just freaking sitting there.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. Like, also, I just looked up. Yeah, there's lots of Snorlax beanbag chairs. Yeah, 100%. That's. I mean, they're money.
Snorlax. I mean, the Psyduck, the like $400 Psyduck.
No,
it's dope.
Psyduck plush. I don't know if I'm looking at the right one because I don't think I'm looking at the right. I'm just looking at. You can buy a life size plush. Is it like as life size is in as tall as a person?
As tall as it is in the anime.
Oh, okay. So yeah, kind of short.
Yeah. Well, I mean, short relative to, but it's still like freaking 4 feet tall or something like that.
Psyduck is 4 feet tall. It's 31 inches tall. How tall is 31 inches? Okay, that's less than 3 feet.
2.5 feet.
Yeah. Okay. I'm down. That's fine. I'll allow it. What a weird world.
I mean, Butterfree's like
we all live in a Pokemon
Noctowl is like 5 feet. I think Noctowl is like almost Charizard size, if not bigger.
Yeah, Noctowl is
size. Noctowl's 5'3".
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, there's some Pokemon that
Noctowl's taller than my ex.
Like, yeah, taller than Ashley. No, it's the same as Ashley. I think she's 5'3", maybe 5'2", somewhere 5'2.5". Dude. We'll say that.
That's crazy. That's insane. Noctowl's too big.
I mean, yeah, like Corviknight is friggin' huge, but that makes sense.
Corviknight
in the game.
Corviknight makes sense that he's that big.
So,
but
and Noctowl it makes sense
being big just doesn't add up to me.
But you know what? If we started with everything was Pokemon Sword and Shield and you saw all the Pokemon in game, then I feel like you'd be used to it.
Yeah.
Just based off of that. But like, yeah, the fact that we're only used to seeing here's just a sprite of a thing. And then we compare that to like, I'm used to an owl. An owl is this big. Then like 5 feet.
And even then, like, so that's the thing that's weird about it. Cause like, I think Ash's Noctowl is probably small. Like Ash's Noctowl is also small.
Yeah. I'm looking that up too. How tall is Ash's Noctowl? You have to sing it. They might not say. Ash's.
This is just a freaking regular Pokedex.
You mean this episode is?
No, this. Oh wait, here's the thing of him standing. But yeah, no, that doesn't check out. Because like force perspective or just perspective in general, he looks smaller than that. Like, hold on.
Yeah, it does look. I think it's smaller than a standard one because there's a picture of it next to another one.
Yeah, and I see him standing in front of. Hold on, wait, let me freaking share my screen because we have the technology to do such.
We do have the technology to do this.
All right, there it is. See, look at this.
Oh yeah. That's definitely like far away from him.
Yeah, like he's far from him and still.
So he's like 3 feet. It looks like right there, is my guess.
Yeah, he's very small, very small.
Yep.
What's up with Ash having all these tiny Pokemon? Dude?
I think they just probably make it aesthetically like here's what it should look like next to Ash, and then they're like, his is weird, I guess.
Yeah.
And then they just like work backwards from there.
I think that's what messes up my head for like what Noctowl should look like. Because like Noctowl like Ash's Noctowl messed up all Noctowls for me because his Noctowl is shiny. So like the regular Noctowl is like stupid, you know, it's just like freaking boring looking Noctowl. But his is shiny, it's red and gold and whatnot.
Yep.
And it's small relative to every other Noctowl. So it's like just messed up my whole perspective on Noctowls, dude.
Yeah. Remember the Pokemon movies?
Yes.
They're fun.
It's true.
Pokemon movie 2000 also, that's like, man.
I think that's probably one I saw the most.
I think so for sure. Yeah. Definitely. I mean, Pokemon, the first movie, second most, but Pokemon 2000 I had the VHS and just watched it over and over and over. I'd get out my ocarina and play the same thing that one girl played on that made up ocarina-ish instrument.
What the heck is her name? Melanie or something like that?
Sure, yeah. But man, I just thought I want to watch that again. Oh man.
I think it's on Netflix or something.
I don't think it's on something. It's not on Netflix. I think it's probably on whatever thing, like if you have the Pokemon
like
channel on Amazon or something.
I think it's on some streaming service. At least it was. But
where to watch Pokemon 2000? Yeah, this is turning into I always love the Wolf Den where like Bob and Will are like, yeah, let's look that up right now. And then people comment and be like, you should be prepared. But I'm like, no, it's so fun to like find out things together. So we're just doing that. We're taking a page from Bob and Will.
Watch Pokemon TV, Pokemon 2000. Is this just queuing up the movie? Can I just watch the movie right now? Is that what's happening right now? I'm on Pokemon TV and I see a loading wheel.
Okay. Yeah, maybe just through there.
But it's not playing, so... What the? Let me see if it's
okay. It definitely is on Amazon Prime with the Pokemon thing
for sure.
But yeah, I don't.
And even then, like it's like $2 or something like that.
Yeah, right.
Pokemon channel.
Otherwise, it looks like it's Yeah, it's not on any of the other
There's a
things. Just
freaking loading screen. Why is this loading?
I don't know. It wants you to remember the glory of Pokemon 2000.
Is it freaking? Hold on, wait, let me see. Because there's an app, and I think I have this app. We can move on though, but I'm
cool.
Gonna...
Will do. As you look that up, Bigfoot Boudreaux asked, "Will Girl Boy Zelda from original Hyrule Warriors be an Age of Calamity?"
I read this ahead of time and I died because I was like, "What?" And I was like, "No, he means
Linkle."
Okay, I get it.
Yeah, no, it's great. I love it. And then the next question: should Girl Boy Zelda from original Hyrule Warriors be an Age of Calamity? So good. Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
I think no.
He needs to be. I mean, she needs to be in
Breath of the Wild sequel
too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, how does that work?
Oh, maybe. Boy and girl Zelda have a gender swap at some point for just no specific reason. Just kind of happens.
This is the thing that I hate about this phone so far. Is
I hate about your phone too.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Some apps are not like freaking formatted right. Like, look at this crap. Look at the black bars on here, man. Like, what? That's dumb.
Yeah, I agree.
And then there's there's Discord. Look at this crap, man. That's dumb. I'm so angry. So stupid. Anyway.
On the camera, through the webcam, it just looks normal to me. So I believe you that it's different.
Which phone? Do you have a phone like one of the all-screen iPhones?
No, I don't. Oh yeah. So mine's it has
Okay. So
I see what you're talking about. Then I see what you're talking about. Yeah. Where it doesn't. It just cuts it off at the top to format it for a phone like mine instead of like yours.
I'm gonna show you on the That's the freaking Wolf Den mod chat. Here it is. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this. I hate it. I hate it so much.
I see what you mean. Crazy times. Mega Man asks, I can't remember if you guys have discussed this before, but what game collection other than Metroid would you like to see? I made a video about this a long time ago. Like,
it's true.
One of the earliest videos that I made.
Or something.
Yeah. Second video after
the second action point video.
Yeah, right. I think Pikmin 1 and 2, that would make sense. Kirby collection.
I was about to say or all three, but we already have three.
Right.
So. There's already a Kirby collection though. Well, you can do another Kirby collection.
Yeah, just do on
25th anniversary or whatever. Swatch.
There were some other things that I'm blanking right now.
Pokemon, every Pokemon game, but it will never happen ever.
Mm-hmm.
People were like, it was like the first 7 gens or something. I think it's the rumor for the 25. I would be shocked.
Dude. What?
I would be shocked to my core.
No, yeah. They're like Nintendo. They are partly Nintendo, but they want to monetize that as much as possible and do them all at once.
No way. Yeah.
But if they do, color me impressed, but like, I can't see it,
I could see them maybe doing like all the DS games or something, or like the next thing up. Cause like we got all the Game Boy games that you could buy individually on the Virtual Console and the 3DS. Maybe they do like the Game Boy Advance games in a collection that's $60 or something, or just like the Fire Emblem thing or whatever. Like maybe they do. There's not enough generations for this, but maybe they do the first 7 generation or maybe even 8. And like you can like buy them for like a month and a quarter for each month and a quarter of next year for the first 8 or 7, I guess. They got to do 7 because they can't do 8 because we already got 8.
So there's already rumors happening for what? I mean, obviously there always are, but for what's going to happen for the 25th anniversary of Pokemon?
Yeah, there's like rumors that they're going to do like a 7 generation wide collection thing. Man. But no. It's like one of those it's like one of those rumors that like somebody's like, this would be neat. Not so much like there's rumblings in the industry and everybody's like passing it's not like Pokemon Stars, right? Where a lot of people it was like people playing a game of telephone where it's like, but will they use Sun and Moon to like test and see all, but
Man. Yeah, otherwise, other game collections. I remember having ideas back on that video, and I've forgotten what they are off the top of my head.
Mother 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
Freaking Pokemon 1 and 2. There's no Pokemon 2. All the freaking 3D Zelda games.
I don't know, a bunch of Yoshi games, I mean, the thing is, like, so many of these things they also can just use for other collections, or for like, the online apps and stuff like that. They can like monetize in different ways. So it's hard to say what exactly they're going to do. But I mean, the Metroid one makes sense just because
they already did it. It's already a thing that exists.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yep.
And I don't even mean specifically for Switch, obviously. Like, we don't know beyond a shadow of a doubt that exists. But the original Metroid Prime trilogy exists.
Yeah. Rock and Val asks, what are your expectations for next-gen consoles? I'm thinking one of them is going to be called, like, the PlayStation Series X. And then the other one's going to be called Xbox Super Good. That's my guess.
I think they're going to be shinier. Every generation, that's how you know it's a good generation.
That's right.
And like stuff got better is like there's more reflective textures. Like that's how you know like this looks better because it's more reflective. You're going to see beads of sweat. That's another next gen thing. You're going to see a lot of racing games because it's easy to make racing games look like real. It's real. It's going to be the same thing but prettier. Who cares? And fast load times, dude.
And hard to find any of them this holiday season.
Yeah, true.
Like, yeah. So there's that.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of. I think it's to me, next gen consoles is just going to be exactly like PS4 and Xbox.
Current gen, yeah.
But just newer ones. So all that. I do think. I mean, I have higher expectations in terms of difference for Microsoft than I do for Sony because I feel like Sony's been doing fine anyway. Microsoft obviously had a rough time for a lot of the Xbox One generation, but now I feel like they're going to come out of that. So, or they're already on their way out of that. But it really does depend on like A, how long does it take their new first party or just exclusive games in general to come out, and B, when they do come out, do they turn out as well as we're hoping, or is it like, they have a lot more exclusives now, but they kind of suck, in which case that would suck a lot, but I don't really anticipate that, but could happen.
Yeah, we shall see.
Tosca asks, is the PS5 worth getting at launch, and which version is best to get in your opinion?
Depends on you. I don't think it's worth it for me personally at launch because I already have a PlayStation 4, and the only game that I care about is also coming to PlayStation 4. I think even the Sackboy Adventure, I think that might be coming to PlayStation 4 too.
Oh, really?
And I think initially it was like, initially they announced that nothing was coming to PlayStation 4. They're like, all our PlayStation 5 games are PlayStation 5 games, and then like they not backpedal because obviously this was the thing that they planned to do the whole time. Yeah, but they were being disingenuous. Liars.
Yeah, that's so scummy to me. Like, I don't know. Like, that's honestly, like, I talked earlier about, like, I'll probably get an Xbox and stuff instead. But it largely, there are specific game reasons why it makes more sense for me to get an Xbox and a PS5 anyway. But a lot of it is also just bias against Sony right now. I'm just like, they just feel gross.
Same.
Like, I don't like
same.
it,
Yeah, that's so what, like, I mean, part of it is because like what I said, but also like Sony is acting like Sony acts when they're ahead. It's like,
I don't.
What are you going to do? Not buy a PlayStation? Like that's how they act. I'm like, yes, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think the reasons that a PS5 could be worth getting at launch is
if you don't have a PlayStation 4.
If you don't have a PlayStation 4 and have $500 laying around and can find a pre-order or can buy it, and you want to
already have a PC.
Yeah,
because if you don't have a high-powered PC that can run the next generation games and stuff like that.
I mean, because the thing
like if you already have a gaming PC and you have extra money to burn and you want a next-gen console, then go for the one that's going to have exclusives that you can't play on your PC.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a PC and you want a next-generation console and you want like the best possible experience visually and all that crap, the Xbox, or you just want to freaking have a next-gen console that's like financially more responsible because you can buy the console for $500 or $300 and then spend $15 a month and you play whatever game that they release that's first party. There you go.
I mean, the other thing, like the benefits that the PS5 does have is the what's it called? The PS Plus games or whatever it is.
Yeah, but those are old games.
I mean, but that's the thing. Like, if you never had a PS4 and like, because I'm interested for sure in God of War. I'm not interested enough in it to do anything about it. But of the games, like God of War is one that's like, yeah, that could be fun to play. But if you're like, man, I wish I played God of War. I wish I played, Horizon Zero Dawn or any of these other games, then like, yeah, that could be something worth, you can get all those games for free essentially with it. But then otherwise, if you don't care about those and you don't care specifically about Demon Souls or whatever, then yeah, to me, the Xbox seems like a better next-gen option.
Very much so a thing of like, that's not a selling point at all for me with the PlayStation, because one, I have a PlayStation 4. Two, if I didn't have a PlayStation 4, I'm not going to freaking play the games that I didn't play. I'm going to play the new stuff, you know? So, like, and it kind of sucks because like, at first what was going to happen was like my Xbox was going to be like my cyberpunk machine. It was like, that's how I'm playing 2077, but now that got delayed too, so it was like, well, rip, I guess.
So yeah, hopefully that answered your question and wasn't disappointing or whatever, but that's how we feel. So there you go. Last question is from Sour Skrillex, who asks, how long could it take to get your hands on a next gen console if you didn't have the chance to pre-order it?
I think that's going to depend on a lot of different factors, because we're in the middle of a pandemic. I think
where in the world you are probably too. Like some areas are just going to get more than others, and
also which one you want or whether or not you care which one specifically, right? Because like I think like they're going to have Series S stock sooner than they're going to have Series X stock, and like it's probably going to be the same thing for like, they're going to have less stock of like the discless version of the PlayStation 5, but for the opposite reason, right? Because like they're going to make more Xbox Series S's, I mean X's, because they know more people want those. But a lot of people are going to want to buy the Series S, especially if they like debate buying an X now, and then there's no exclusive, but I still want an Xbox just in case. I want to spend less money, so I'll buy the S. Like that. There's too many variables to like give a solid figure, but I would say like you would probably be able to like check back monthly, like if it's like there's no stock in November, which it sounds like for PlayStation there's no in-store stock for the first week, and then the week after that there will be in-store stock. Xbox, I don't know. It seems like they're just all in one shot. Like there's going to be in-store stock.
I think I saw something where like Best Buy isn't going to have any in-store stock of either one this holiday season or something, which probably that's because I remember when the Switch was really out of stock, I called GameStop and asked them like, hey, do you guys have any Switches? Because I was looking for one for my sister-in-law. And they were like, the warehouse gets it first and then they'll sell it online, and if any extras are around they'll send them to us, but the warehouses are selling out, so we're just not getting any outside of every once in a while randomly we'll get some, but usually we just don't get any. So I think honestly with all this thing, like if you don't want to be in a dire situation where you have to suddenly make a decision like, oh, here's a PS5 sitting right in front of me, do I buy it or not buy it, or Series X or whatever, same thing, decide ahead of time if you want to be in one of three camps.
I am buying it.
Either you're the kind of person that's going to set up alerts and do every single thing possible to get it as much as possible, in which case there's maybe still a chance you can't get it. I don't know. It depends on how available it is. Either that, or then you're the kind of person who you'll opportunistically either get it or not get it, but decide what camp you want to be in first so that you don't run into bad money situations where it's like, I don't actually have $500, but here it is, set aside the $500 so that, and then when the time comes, you can either get it or not get it. But that's, it's going to be tricky regardless.
It's true.
Best of luck.
For sure.
And best of luck having to wait a whole nother week until our next podcast, because that's maybe what you're going to have to do, unless you go back and listen to an old one, which I guess people do that sometimes. I don't know.
Dude, there's 136 of them.
This is true. But yeah, otherwise we'll be making videos.
Well, technically there's more than that because there's like the freaking like special one.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah. So there it is. But also tune into the videos that we make this week, and then Twitch as well to watch AJ stream some stuff. And I think we'll be showing up on a podcast with
X. Who knows?
That's true. We'll be showing up on a podcast with Max at some point on over on his
and I'm going to be on Wolf Den Live the week after next week, apparently.
Nice. For anything specific?
No. It was just, Bob was like, hey, you want to do Wolf Den Live next week? And I was like, okay. And then he DM'd me and was like, hey, next week is current, like next gen console.
Yeah,
so, like, maybe the week after that. And I was like, okay. So there, that's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's it from us. Have a good time, y'all. Bye.